What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Hatoraid Hour, Hatoraid Live, the Hatoraid Hour podcast. I'm your host, Jordan, aka Hatoraid Cowboy, and today we're going to be talking about MWAVE. We're going to be talking about JTR, RBH, Cinemic, stereo integrity, and much, much more. But before we get started, as always, let's be kind to one another, let's have fun, and let's keep it G-rated. Well, we got quite the panel today. We're missing a couple people, but we have quite the panel. We've got a bunch of content creators here, a bunch of people that were at MWAVE. Some were working as staff members at MWAVE. So let's introduce everybody. We got Ike. What's up, Ike?
I'm doing good. How's everyone doing?
Good to see you, man. We got Rusty from Obsessed Home Theater, which we'll probably mention here.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir. Thanks for coming. And we got Raising the Roof over here.
Oh,
we got Scott.
I thought I was on the other channel. My bad.
Good to see you, Scott. How's it going?
Hey, man, everything's going good. Glad to see you boys again. Let's have a good time tonight.
Yes, sir. We got Don.
What's going on, man? Thanks for the invite. Appreciate you having us on tonight.
Yes, sir. Thanks for joining. And we got John Brockstar. What's going on, John?
I'm not important enough to have all those subtitles and things on my name, so I'm just a tag along here.
No worries, man. No worries. So we're missing a couple people. We still are waiting on Michael Youthman, the man of the hour, to arrive, and we have another Rusty 2 or Rusty 1, however you want to look at it. We got some people in the chat already. Let's see. We got Drew Arredondo from Laguna Beach. What's up, man? We got Jason Marin. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Gene Splicer, Ariel, and there's a couple people, I think, let's see, Theo Isaac, Michael Slocum. So we appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. Like I said, we're going to be talking about our experiences at MWAVE. We're going to be talking about the rooms. We're supposed to have 8 people on the stream, so not sure how long this is going to last. I think we're going to try to keep it at around 2 hours, but if we move a little bit quickly, just want to give you guys a heads up. But before we get into it, check this out. Let me share this. Did anybody go into the Cinemic room?
I did.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
So this was an hour ago. These guys are in Houston.
Oh, cool.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
What's that?
No, I said, oh, yeah. I know they mentioned it to me that they were coming down towards Texas.
Yeah. So I shot the room on Sunday. So I actually have to do part 3 of my vlog, and they're going to be in that video. But we've been communicating. He was like, "Hey, we're going to be doing basically making a road trip across, the country after MWAVE." He's like, "We're going to drive through Houston, Dallas." He's like, "Maybe we'll meet up." So I was like, "Yeah." So yesterday he's like, "Hey, man, we're going to be out here." They're staying in the Woodlands, but he said we're going to be out here in spring, and there's a guy the house that I went to. He's a dealer with some different manufacturers and products. They're like, "Hey, we can give you a demo of the modded Apple TV, do a comparison." So yeah, so I drove up there, took off work a little bit early, and got back like about 30 minutes ago. And I was like, "Hey, man, let me take a picture with you guys so I can, share it on the stream." So these guys are really cool, man.
Yeah, we got to hang out with them at the bar. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah, Paul, our other co-host, he put together like a pub crawl, and we had a fantastic time with those guys. I mean, we were sitting down, drinking beer, sharing chicken wings. By the way, chicken wings in Kansas City are a little different, by the way.
That's
They
funny.
give you the whole wing. I mean, it's like it's not separated. So something a fat kid would notice,
We got Rusty number 2. What's going on, Rusty?
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good, man. Thanks for joining. Rusty, you're in your new house. That's right. I forgot. You moved since the last time.
Yep.
It looks like Rusty's streaming from like an old Nokia phone or something, right?
Is it not buffered in? It's clear on my end.
Yeah, it's a little. At least for me, it's you're buffering pretty hard. Maybe it'll clear up.
Yeah,
Like
it was
8-bit Nintendo hard.
Could be the internet. I don't have the best internet here, but I've got the best I can get.
Hey, we're glad to have you, and we can hear you. So we're just waiting on Michael to tune in. Hopefully, he didn't forget. I talked to him.
I messaged him.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess while we're talking about the Cinemic, so for those of you that don't know, if you were at MWAVE and you went into that room, you probably already know. But Cinemic is a couple guys. These guys. So these two, I believe, are also named Mike, and this is Chris. So they actually do mods on like Apple TV 4K, Oppo 203. They had one in there. They had a Trinov in there, and they had some amps and stuff. So they basically mod them out and gives you a better video, better audio. Cleans up some of the. They mod the cables. I think the boards on some of that stuff. So pretty interesting stuff. I didn't get to actually demo the room because I went in there and I shot the room and then I had to leave. But I got to talk to them, and they're doing some really, really cool stuff. They're actually supposed to, and actually they mentioned you, Ike, too. I think we're going to, at least I think I'm going to try to have them on a live stream at some point. I know they mentioned you and Don, and then I think they said they're going to try to send us some modded Apple TV 4K so that we can test out. But what, did anybody actually get to demo the room, like do A/B comparisons?
So I did for a few minutes, not long enough to be able to make any type of, subjective conclusion
Right.
on if it's good or bad or some things like that. However, I had a detailed conversation from just an engineering perspective. And just from that point of view, I think that they are up to something, right? But like most things, you get to try it out and test it and see what it's truly like. But taking a look at some of the microchips and the fact that Michael solders those things by hand was just impressive from an engineering standpoint. But yes, I did get an opportunity to experience it, and just like you mentioned, we plan to bring them on the show to come talk about it in a lot of detail, because there's a lot of people I think that are kind of interested in what they do, how you can get an Apple TV 4K to be much better is something that I'm really interested in seeing. So
Yeah, definitely. And actually, when I was with him a little while ago, he mentioned that he's like, "Hey, we want to send you some products because we want you to have ample time to actually test this thing out, because you can hear it now, but like this person's setup is different. Everybody's setup is different. So if you get it into your home on your system's calibrated, then you can do the A/B comparison." So
I'd like to volunteer for the turn off, please.
I know, right?
right.
I'll take the turn of anything.
I will definitely take a trend off.
So I didn't get to hear a lot of the A/B comparisons, but I worked the event, so I can tell you that they like peanut M&Ms and pretzels. That's not what we're here for. Sorry.
Hey, go ahead, man.
But I was enjoying watching Greatest Showman in there for that opening, because I mean everyone loves that for the bass, right? That's why that's a great demo, is the Greatest Showman. And I didn't even realize throughout that whole thing, like, they didn't have a center speaker. And I was like, oh my goodness, so I was enjoying the bass, but then I realized, it's a phantom center, and they did really well at that. Were they using swans?
They had the black swans in there.
Swans.
Ascendo black swans.
Yeah.
And I think they had
it sounded gorgeous without a center speaker, even with dialogue.
and they had they had the black swans, and then were they using, was it a 30-inch or the subwoofers that they had? I can't remember the
32.
size. 32.
Yeah,
Okay.
32 is in there.
Did you come to MWAVE? What was your favorite room? Yeah, let us know in the chat what your favorite room is. We're going to be talking about some different rooms. Anybody else?
You have Michael in the green room, Jordan. Just FYI, just in case you're
Where
choosing.
is? Oh, I see him.
We don't need him here.
Yeah, we could have just left him in
Yeah.
there.
Everyone stop
Probably
laughing
his
now.
event.
Everyone.
I chickened out, I saw him there for a few seconds. It's like,
It was funny. I thought it was like 30 minutes. I don't know what I was
That's
thinking.
funny. Hey, no worries, man. Appreciate you having. I didn't see you because I guess I had to scroll down. So,
Right. You got to-
what's up, Michael?
Well, don't put me on big, man.
Well, hey, I mean, you were the last one, so you're the man of the hour. You're the reason why we're doing this. So,
Man. It was amazing, man. We had a great time. It was cool seeing all the content creators there too, man. To me, really, the community is what MWAVE stands for, and that's what it's about. And to see the amount of volunteered, like John Brock, was a stinking Brock star for sure.
Yep.
Last year, I had our hospitality room was literally an epic failure because I was trying to do too many things. And so we had like ice and drinks and snacks for creators, the vendors, and our volunteers. What was that gone like in hour and a half? And I never had a chance to restock it. So John was like, dude, I got this. And he ran with it, man. So I was enjoying the Reese's peanut butter cups, and just every once in a while we could go into what I call the command central, because we had laptops and all these tripods, all the batteries everywhere. And I'm like, it was just nice to be able to go in there. That was like a little sanctuary, man. We could come in there and just breathe for a minute, grab a couple snacks, grab us a drink, and then we head back out and go hang out with some more folks. So, and it was awesome. Super, super cool event.
Yeah. And I didn't really even realize last year that there was a, VIP room where we could do all that stuff.
Another epic failure on my part.
Well, maybe there was, and we just weren't invited.
Well, we got some really good feedback from the vendors that said, man, we just felt like we were really taken care of this year, because Brock was going around to each one of the rooms saying, hey guys, just checking in with you. Is there anything that you need? We've got snacks and drinks. And so they were constantly coming in the room going, this is cool, man. Like, I appreciate this. And so it was just really nice. And even we had food trucks outside. Sometimes if a vendor comes and they don't have a big team, it's hard for them to just leave their room. And so Brock would go to them and say, hey, look, if you don't have somebody that can break away and go get you lunch, we'll be glad to go get lunch for you. So just top-notch service from him, man. That was super, super big I know for me, that was a blessing that I didn't have to worry about logistic-wise. And the vendors were happy. Content creators, hopefully you guys were happy because you could
that was great, dude.
Put your stuff in there. You didn't have to worry about nobody coming and grabbing it.
Yeah, I actually I felt comfortable just leaving my stuff there, because I think last year when when Chris picked me up and I got to the convention center, I basically just put my suitcase and my tripod behind the table that was in front of the banner, and I was like, I don't really want to leave my stuff out here. So this year when I walked in there, I was like, oh, this is like a whole station. It was like battery station. People had their laptop and everything. Everyone just left their stuff in there, and I felt comfortable. I could go. I need to go shoot something. Let me leave my tripod in here. And so that was a great idea, man. Awesome.
Yeah, everybody was giving us, giving me pointers and everything, because I don't know how to focus a camera apparently. So, but yeah, no, everybody in there all the content creators were very helpful, and very resourceful as far as helping each other out, loaning each other equipment, and all kind of stuff like that. So just fantastic.
And representative of the community. I mean, even us as content creators, we want each other to succeed. Like, if there's anything, I remember, I can't remember who they were with, but there was a guy and a girl, and they had brought a gimbal for their phone, and it really wasn't working real great. And I'm like, you know what? I got one. I'm not even going to use it probably this year. So here, take it. Here's how to use it. And they were like, really? I'm like, heck yeah, go with it, man.
Nice.
So it's all about the community.
Yeah. Yeah, that was awesome. And just meeting so many people, and I'm sure everybody we're all on YouTube, but meeting people, having them come up to you and be like, hey man, like, I've been watching your channel from day one. Yeah. I love your content. Like, getting to actually put names with faces, because some of the people use the same names on YouTube, and I'm like, oh yeah, I recognize that name, and it was just everyone was so welcoming and so encouraging, and you don't find that at any other show. So
yeah, absolutely.
I want to give a big shout out to this guy here, because man, I know you were tired, bro.
I was tired.
Why don't you tell everybody what you were doing? His slave driver.
No, I'm just trying to keep up with him. He worked so hard for this event and doing everything I can to serve the attendees, the exhibitors, Michael and Ryan, and the creators, just to make it a great experience. And it was so going into, because there's so much leading up to the event, and it gets really compressed in the last couple of weeks. And on Wednesday at 3:00, I'm an introvert, and I'm a social introvert, so I love hanging out with people, but it just wears me out. The constant interaction drains me. And Wednesday around 3 o'clock, I'm like, I don't think I'm going to make it till the end of the day on Sunday. But then as the people started coming in and you're getting to see people, it's the family reunion for a lot. It's the new faces, it's the excitement, the energy. And by 4 o'clock, I'm just like, man, I can stay up for 48 hours. I'm good to go. It was just such a awesome, the energy. It was great. And that's what carried me through the rest of the week. And I kept saying, I don't know how many times I said, I'm going to bed early tonight. And I was up till like 2 o'clock one night. It's like,
oh man.
Yeah, it was great to meet your family, Rusty. You know, you had your son there, and he was so nice. He was showing me how to work my gimbal and stuff like that.
Awesome.
It was great. Yeah, I subscribed to his channel. I'm sorry, I don't remember it off the top of my head, but do a shameless plug if you know it. Get him some subscribers.
Yeah. He's he changed the name several times, but I think it's still on everything with MDP. He's just playing around with learning and practicing and making like some 3D print videos, and he just loves the gear and being around all the other creators. You know, it's a cool thing to do these days.
Nice.
Yeah, it was fun chatting with him. I used to coach Little League baseball, so I love working with kids his age and stuff like that. So it was great to chat with him.
I think, is he the one? He told me that he told some guy about the secret compartment on the Osmo Pocket or something.
Oh, interesting.
No, he told me about
he
told me about the telescoping also. So.
Yeah, Don and I had a chat with him.
So he'll be very proud that he taught you something.
Yeah, Don and I had a chat with him. So
yeah, that's funny.
So
well, cool. Let's get into some of these rooms that I'm sure we all got to experience. So I guess first let's get into the JTR demo room. So what was you guys' thoughts? Rusty B, you want to go first?
Sure. So, I mean, I experienced JTR for the first time at Rusty Minch's house. And from my experience at the demo, it was everything I expected from JTR. So much dynamics. As loud as it can get, it's still nice and clear. You don't have any listening fatigue. It's just an incredible setup. Actually, that's what I want. That would be my pick. Is JTR for my next system.
You gonna put a bass driver, or what is the model of the bass that he had, the subwoofers that he had with the pair?
4,000.
Yeah, the captivators. You got to get one for each channel.
Yeah, preferably 4. One in each corner.
Right.
For a small room, yeah. Smaller.
Scott, what about you?
I never went in the JTR room.
That's a lie. That's a huge lie.
That's funny, dude.
I mean, you're used to JTR anyway, so. But I mean, what did you think of the room this year versus last year? Because he stepped it up quite a bit from last year.
Well, I mean, because I got to see a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, after hours and before hours. It was frustrating, he was having some electrical issues, but once that got straightened out, then everything was good. I would say, certainly, because Storm Audio has made so much progress with their art, that certainly helped the experience. Bringing twice as many subs helped the experience. Another big thing too is they had, row 1 seating in there this time too. So instead of sitting on those harder chairs, it was nice to have a comfortable seat to sit in. But they had a line pretty much that whole time for people wanting to experience that room. No, they did. Once they got the power issue settled, I mean, it was smooth sailing. I enjoyed myself. Everybody enjoyed themselves. So I was standing at the door talking to a lot of people because I use a lot of JTR gear. And actually, quite a few of those people that were there have been to my house. So it was kind of cool to catch back up with people and, just kind of chat about everything. So, no, it was a good time.
Rockstar, what about you?
The room was absolutely amazing. I can't compare it to last year just because I was not there. But, very, very loud. And that's what they wanted to do, right? I mean, everyone's going to that event. And, Jeff, he wants to give them a ride. And, he definitely he dialed it back sometimes when they asked, but he also wants to show what the system can do, and that it can still be clear, and it's not overpowering. Well, it's overpowering, but it's still clean. And yeah, it was great. Even when we stuck around I think he only did it the last day, right? He might have done something day 2, but on day 3 at the very end, he did what I don't know what he called it, but the ultimate demo 160.
Yeah, we
I
did.
don't even know what it was that. It
We
was
did that Saturday night too. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was basically everyone turn in your waivers, plug your ears. Here's your earplugs.
Buckle
And so
your seatbelt.
I folded my ears in and then had my fingers over them, and because I just wanted to feel it. I know what it would sound like. It was painful, but yeah, but it sounded great, and you could feel it, and it was just great. I mean, there was no actuators or butt kickers. It was just all of that force hitting you, and it was wonderful. And that's what that room is there for. That's what he did his job well. Jeff and his team and his speakers and his subwoofers did exactly the experience that people were expecting, and over. It was definitely an over. It wasn't an over promise, under deliver. Under promise and over deliver. And we knew he was going to go for it, and he surprised a lot by that room. And it was intense and powerful, I guess is what I could say.
Yeah. We got a question here. It says, did Scott or anyone hear the difference between art on and off in the JTR room? Did they do that? I don't think they were doing.
I heard the system uncalibrated, but I don't know if it was calibrated with Dirac and then we were listening on and off, or it was just a full calibration off, full calibration on. But with the art on, you could definitely tell that there was a lot more control over everything. So I don't know if that was Dirac was still on, just art on and off. I'm not sure about that, but definitely when art is on, it's a lot less, not sloppy. But those rooms, there isn't really much any room treatment in there, so you could. It's definitely active. It definitely does something. It's a nice touch.
And the room definitely was not distorting. It was played really loud on purpose, and there was no distortion. It was great. And some people did say it's a little too much. Right. It's more than what you do normally. But that's kind of what exactly. But nothing was distorted. It was still clean.
Oh, yeah.
And before I get to everybody else, I just want to say, I think we need to talk to Scott about piracy, because when I was editing that video, I don't know how many shots Scott was just like, how long did you sit there record? Did you record the whole movie?
First of all, forget the piracy. I want my royalties for being in all those videos we were shooting.
I told you, man.
I'm expecting a check for 37 cents in the mail every month for the rest of my life.
I was like, man, how long is this guy recording? It was like every clip I was doing, I was like, man, he's.
But I was recording my face. I wasn't recording the movie. I just like taking a lot of pictures of myself.
Well, one of them, I think it was the Ready Player One. I could see it on your phone, like it was playing, but I just thought that was funny.
Yeah, because I don't have that movie at home. It's the only way I get to watch it.
You're gonna have to do some serious upmixing on that.
Yeah.
Ike, what about you?
So JTR room, I like to say every show deserves a crazy room, and that is what the JTR room was. It was crazily amazing. I think a lot of people came there expecting something from that room, and it did not disappoint. So that was it. It was crazy. It's not for everybody, I like to think, but they did not disappoint. And I don't know how you top it up next year or the year after. So, but yeah, it was that one crazy room that everyone was excited to go experience, and everyone left thinking, yeah, that's crazy.
All right, let's hear from one of the owners of JTR, Rusty.
My thoughts of the JTR room.
Yeah, because I saw you sitting in there a couple times. What did you think it was different from last year?
Yeah, so I didn't think it was like substantially different, because it was like great last year and it was great this year. I'm used to it at home, so of course I'm biased. I like it. The part that like really get my attention was the extreme demo. Like sitting there at 140 dB. I've never done that before. I still want to go to newbies and see what 150 is like in a small room, but that was pretty intense. Never experienced that, and I drugged my wife in there. She came back on the last day. She didn't know what she was getting into. I was like, just sign this, don't read it. Don't worry about that. Then I handed her some earplugs. She says, what is this for? I'm like, don't worry about it, you'll be fine. And we went in there, and she was sitting right next to one of the subwoofers, but she's a trooper. She enjoyed it. Obviously it's not something you would do for an entire movie, but it's fun just to see what it can do. For sure.
That was impressive. Like, I remember last year when I was talking to him, I was like, I don't think he can top it this year. And then this year I was like, oh snap. So now I'm like, I really don't see how he can top it from next year. But I mean, I'm sure he can do it. And just before I forget, Rusty, you mentioned you want to hear Scott's room. I'm planning on going up there in October to Scott's, to film a home theater tour and possibly 3 other tours.
Oh, cool.
So we're working on that. I just started looking at some flights and hotels. So I'm gonna try to get up there in October, maybe the end of October, and do some home theater tours.
We'll show you a good time.
Yes, sir.
Maybe I'll crash your party then.
Do it. Let's see who we got. Michael, I think Michael and Don. Michael, what did you actually get a chance to go and like sit down and demo anything?
I actually did not much. This year, I think out of what did we have? 15 total rooms. I had the opportunity maybe to hear 5, maybe.
Okay.
It was funny because I think it was on Sunday. I said, I'm going to do my best to get all of these. I'll just pop in, get a couple songs, quick demos, pop out. So I hit 2201,
okay,
which was Stereo Integrity. Then I popped over to RTJ, the Tower Powers, heard a couple songs on that. That was 2202. Went to 2203. Power was out. So I'm like, I guess we're skipping that one. And then I moved down to, I think, the big Ascendo room. I got a chance to hear, or the 2-channel Swans. And then I heard RBH. And then I got a text saying, hey, man, we need you. And I was like, crap, that was short and sweet. That's the way it works.
Yep. Don?
But I did get to hear JTR later on. So the extreme demo. But
I missed that one because he gave me a waiver and I was like, what is this? He was like, here, sign it. I thought he was joking. And I started laughing. He's like, no, for real, sign it. And I was like, I read it. I was like, oh, snap.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to sign one when you come over here, too.
Yeah, probably. And I'm definitely, I hope you provide some more than earplugs. You got some like headphones or something for like.
You got a defibrillator.
That man has a defibrillator in his house.
Yeah, man. I would actually read.
He has a whole
crash
cart.
me.
He has a crash cart in his house, man.
That's hilarious.
Well, I'll charge you right before you come. We'll be ready to go.
All right. Let's see. I think we got some pictures that we can look at too. But Don, what did you think of the room? Go ahead, Michael. You can show them.
It doesn't matter. Don's got some as well. These were just some from Benny. Here we go. Let me flip back over. I'll just scroll through these while you're talking. So Benny Sibbett with photography in motion. He was a photographer last year and as well this year. Does an amazing job. He did his best to cover each one of the rooms to give you an idea of like what can you experience at MWAVE. What do these rooms really look like?
Yeah, that was JTR was my favorite room this year. It's just, last year was one of my favorite rooms. I think for me personally, last year Stereo Integrity stole the show for me just because I had never heard them and I didn't know what to expect. But this year when I went in there, because I went in there multiple times, filming and stuff, but I did actually sit down. But even just walking around, it was so even. I was just like, man, this room just sounds incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And then they this year, which I didn't realize until Jeff told me that, they upgraded the seating because they only had one row of seats. They just had like your standard seats. This year they had row 1 in there. So this is what, Thursday or Friday?
So this was actually, this was on Thursday. I got to take a sneak peek in here before while they were setting up. This room was standing room only for the most part, so you had to wait and get a seat. And they actually, Jeff came out and he was like, yeah, they're not leaving. They're just sitting in the seats. Right? So people were literally just, I mean, they were just staying in the seats, right? So I actually, this is where I stood. I stood right off to the side the first demo. And I tell you what, even though I was standing off to the side, it was still amazing. You know, and that'll show you the sheer amount of people that were just standing in the room, you know. So the projector was great. It was definitely doing its thing, you know, and
images. Sorry, still images don't do the projector justice.
Yeah, no, it was phenomenal. I think that was the Barco in there, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes.
And I actually caught.
Yep.
Yeah, I actually caught the Cinemite guys sneaking a peek in there.
Yeah, they were.
I had to take a picture of them.
And they wanted to see what the competition was.
Yeah, and you know what's cool about this show is you get to see, and I saw that all throughout the show, even last year. You get to see these other, you know, rooms. People like Ascendo, RBH, they go to the other rooms too because they want to hear. They've probably never heard, you know, JTR or never had the opportunity, and it's cool to see them go in there. I know I was sitting next to a couple people from Joey from MadVR. We were sitting in those director's chairs, and just like seeing everybody else that was exhibitors go into these other rooms and just have the smile on their face, man. It's really cool because, you know, that the whole niche that we're in, it can be very competitive. Because, you know, you got these speaker coming, but when everybody's there, everybody wants to check out everybody else's system. There's no competitiveness. They're not trying to sell you anything. It's just like, hey, let me go check this room out.
Yeah. Hey, Don, can you back up about 7 slides? There's some.
Which one?
Oh, you went all the way to the beginning.
Okay.
So
what do you want?
There was a picture of the right there. You see the gentleman in the front in the white shirt and the hat backwards?
I was gonna say, is that
from Saudi, right?
That's our dude from Saudi Arabia, man.
Wow.
That was so awesome. I ran into him in the hallway, and I said, I saw his name badge, and I saw it said Saudi Arabia. I said, bro, I said, I cannot. I'm like blown away that you would fly all the way from Saudi Arabia to come to MWAVE. I said, can I get a selfie with you? You know, it was like my honor, man. I was just so excited, but that was just really, really cool.
Yeah, no, it was great meeting a bunch of people there. We actually, some of the people are in the chat. I really appreciated everyone just stopping and saying hello and everything. But overall, this room was fantastic. I mean, it was definitely loud. I didn't participate in 140 dB.
Me either.
I chose to keep my hearing.
Yeah. No, after a while, I stepped out of the room, and I was like, you know what, man? We're not young anymore, man.
I think doing this, and we'll talk about it too. I think when I was in the RBH room one time too, I was kind of like, ooh, like this is getting a little bit too loud for me. But it's still cool, you know. So Eric Johnson says, also from Dallas, Texas, represent Texas. He says, I also wanted to send my thanks to you, Jordan, Ike, and Michael for sitting down with me on behalf of Tony. He was blown away, and we are working hard to bring him next year. Thanks, guys. Yeah, man, appreciate it.
Yeah, Tony's with Build Montage. He's
build montage in Australia.
Yeah, we got to get him out there.
Yep. Well, his community wanted to basically, like his patrons said, look, we would love to kind of fund this.
Wow.
Come together collectively, get you over here. And think about this. I totally get it. You don't want to, not that you're putting that burden, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to have them to do that.
Right.
But what
I would never ask that, but I mean, they're 100%. Offering it, you know.
Well, here's what I told him. I said, Tony, think about it this way. I said, your community is so grateful for what you've contributed to them. And by you not allowing them to bring you to the show, it's almost like you're robbing them of their blessing. And he's like, man, I never thought of it that way. You know, so if they choose to do that, I'm like, just say thank you. You know, they want to do it. And collectively, it's a whole lot easier for 20 or 30 people or 10 people to get together and go, hey, what would it take to cover his flight, hotel, or whatever?
Right.
Than him to do it himself. So
Home Theater Denmark says,
sorry about that. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say Home Theater Denmark says, congrats on your 1,000 videos, Michael. And it sure sounds like MWAVE was a huge success. Massive respect from Denmark.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I can't believe that. I was looking at it. I'm going,
that's crazy, dude. 1,000 videos.
I was like at 999 videos. I'm like, my next video has to be celebration, man. Like, that's just wild to me to think that I've filmed most of those. So I have hired people like Brad from Home Theater Gamer. He's done a lot of content with me at like Cedia, you know, because it's easier for me to have a conversation with, let's say, Kaleidoscape or Barco or whoever, if I'm not having to worry about shutter speed and aperture and, oh man, is somebody going to kick over my camera on a tripod, you know, in a busy, like not hallway, but out in an aisle at Cedia. So having Brad there has been huge, and I've hired other people as well. But I filmed every single one of those videos except for one.
That's awesome.
That was the Tombstone home theater, and I hired.
That's a big project.
Jake. Yeah, Jake was our video editor or videographer, I guess, this year. Him and Benny both. So, but I'm like, Jake, I'm so swamped right now. Can I just pay you to edit this? And I'm like, I cannot believe I just turned over one of the biggest projects to a dude that I've never
That's funny.
hired before. But he nailed it, man. Absolutely did a great job.
That's great. Yeah, man. Just speaking on like
No
live shows are wild, dude. Like when you're at home and you have your set, your studio, whatever, you can do as many takes. But man, it's crazy how you don't realize stuff that happens until after the fact, and you're like reviewing the footage. You're like, oh no, and then you're like, well, I can't go back. One, I can't reshoot the exact same experience, and two, like I don't have the time to go back in there and be like, hey, can we stop everything? So, it's like I know there's been a couple of glitches on some of my videos, so I apologize to everybody. But yeah, it's live shows are kind of hard because, like Michael was saying, when you're doing everything yourself, you got to worry about, you got to fix the ISO, white balance. You've got to make sure your microphone works. You've got to make sure.
Are they dying? You know,
it's crazy, man.
4K 60 again because I was shooting B-roll. I should be on 4K 30, and then it takes you out of the interview because you're so worried about those things. And I'll be honest, Jordan, I got to give you props because, and even Ike as well, and Don, I've seen him. You guys are doing this stuff solo. You're at these shows and you're filming and editing and all this. Trust me, man. I 100%, you know, can relate and know the struggle there. So, but y'all are killing it, man. Appreciate it.
I gotta admit, I'd much rather do a live stream.
Yeah. Well, they're easier. They're way easier. Hit record. Let's go.
Before I used to be like, okay, let me set up my tripod and but I'm like, they see me all the time. They don't need to see me. Let me just film the people that are in this room. Right. Yeah. Like I don't need to be on camera. Like they're not here to see me at MWAVE. They're here to see the experience and the other stuff. So I try to like not be in the video as much as possible.
Yeah, that's what I did. This MWAVE was film the people. I remember Don even asked me, he was like, I don't want to be in the video, man. Don't worry about me.
They're tired of seeing my face.
Yep.
Yeah, I took a different approach to it too this year. Not some of the rooms, rooms. I'm not even going to have people talking. I'm just going to have like panning of the room, looking at the speakers, and me just doing a voiceover, you know, of what I thought and you know what about the room and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, you know, I've been working on some videos and trying to put some more content out the past. Yeah,
I've got five interviews with people, and so it's just me talking with them about what they brought to the show and you know, kind of what they wanted to accomplish. I did Absolute Ultimate AV was posted today.
Saw that.
Matt VR was yesterday, so I'm gonna do one a day for the next 5 days and get those knocked out.
Nice.
I did an interview. It was kind of funny. I interviewed the Cinemite guys, and it wasn't like anything bad, but he kept dropping some bombs. I'm like, we're probably just gonna leave those in. Who cares? You know, it's not anything major, but it was just so innocent, you know. But some of the things he said, it was funny.
Hey, that's about as German as you get, right?
Yeah, those guys are a hoot.
Man, they're super cool.
Mike was there speaking German to them. So.
Yeah, I speak a little bit. So yeah, it was fun to to hang out with them. They're great guys, man.
They were fun, man. And the crazy thing, they were telling me the story that on the way over here, they ran into some customs issues, bringing the Trenob processor and bringing the Oppo that they have modified and just the different components, not the big speakers, the Swans, but all the smaller stuff. So they're like, you know what? We're just going to ship this stuff with us. And so they literally put it in like, I don't know, like suitcases or whatever. And they shipped it with them on the flight. And so that was pretty wild, but they were great, man. They were excited. They're like, we're coming back next year, but we're bringing 432s instead of 2.
Wow. Man. Well, I don't know if you were on the stream yet, Michael, but this was like an hour and a half ago. So they're in Houston. Yeah. So I got a chance to meet up with them and talk with them. So man, they're really cool guys. They're like, I think they said they're going to Dallas next tomorrow, and then I think they're driving.
Okay. I need to hit Chris
Yeah,
up.
hit him up, man. And I think he said then they're going back to Kansas City.
Yeah, they're doing a tour somewhere around like.
Yeah,
I think they're gonna be here for like a month or something.
Wow. Yeah.
So, yep.
All right. Well, what about the RBH room? So the RBH room for me, I'll just talk briefly. The RBH room for me was my second favorite room. I had never heard RBH at all. I've only seen them on Shane Lee's channel and Gene's channel, so I was super excited to go in there. And as I was, I think after I was filming, I was kind of just standing around, or I walked in there and they were playing A Quiet Place Part 2. And when that alien ran up and hit that cop car, I was like, "Oh snap! This is pretty nice, man." And, you know, they had that 124-inch sub, and then they had the subs and the speakers, but that was pretty much all the bass that they had and the subs that they had in there. And then they were playing the Godzilla -1, and that sounded awesome. So that was my second favorite room. What about you guys? Let's see, Minch. Did you get to listen to RBH?
I did, just for a few minutes. Yeah, my first time to ever hear them too. I liked them. I wouldn't say that they were my favorite of the show, but I thought they were good. But I hit all of the rooms. Actually, I didn't make all the rooms because I started at 3:00 on Sunday, and some people had already started breaking down early, so I didn't quite make every room. But it was a pretty quick drive by. But yeah, they're great.
One thing I like, they actually brought, I was just gonna say they brought some inexpensive speakers too, and so they were showcasing like, hey, we've got some affordable options. Not everything's expensive, and for like what you're paying for this, they sounded really, really good. And it was only a little 2-channel, no subwoofer, so that was quite impressive to me.
Yeah, and actually, you had a picture of them. I actually had a lot more footage with them that we recorded. We actually went around the whole room and talked about everything. And like right after he talked about the sub, when I was reviewing the footage, somehow the audio just cut out. And so I was like, so then I went to the camera audio, and I was like, I can't post this, man. This is too bad. So I'll probably just drop it on Patreon or something if somebody wants to see it. But yeah. And then I think he said they had the new those Atmos, the height speakers. Those were new. So Rusty B, did you get to? Yeah, I think I saw you in there, Rusty.
Yeah, I got to check it out. So I second what Michael was saying about the inexpensive speakers, especially the white pair. I thought they sounded amazing. And when he told me the price, I think he said they're like $1,300 a pair.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
that's
extremely
super affordable.
But I mean, they were very clean. I was really impressed by them. As far as the ones that they were up on screen right now, the big towers. I'm kind of with Rusty Minch. They weren't my favorite of the show, but they were still really good. And I was impressed by the amount of bass, you know, just with that one single sub right there.
Yeah, wasn't that a 24 or 21? I don't remember.
21.
It's a 21, yeah.
Okay, 21. I said 24. Yeah, 21.
So for one sub, I mean, it was doing work.
Yeah.
And then there's 8 12 subs in the towers, I believe.
Correct.
Towers.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's 2 or 4 in each tower.
Yeah.
They actually just sent that sub to Shane Lee. So
yeah, I saw the crate.
Yeah, 600 pounds, man, with the crate and the. I was like, dude, how are you gonna get that in your house? I don't want.
They fill it full of sand.
You better not be going upstairs with that, man.
Yeah,
I think he is. I think he's. But I was like, I don't think I would want it just from the sheer fact that I don't want to have to put this back, like box it back up and send it back.
Yeah, that's
gonna be a pain. Let's see, Brock. Did you listen to RBH?
I'll share
I didn't spend a lot of time in there. Again, I was dropping food off, so I know what they drank and ate. But again, they were a couple doors down, 2 or 3 doors down from RTJ and or JTR. Sorry, both the same. But I think they started cranking theirs up when they're like, all right, you know, they might have had the subs and the power that JTR was pulling. But I think they kind of felt like, just my speculation, they got louder as the weekend went on. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
And it was still it was good sounding. Nothing was distorting. It wasn't sounding bad, but they definitely started cranking it up when they heard other rooms doing the same, and they were definitely holding their own. So yeah, they were great. They're definitely quality speakers. Dream Media is the one that built my room, and I know Dream Media really cares about quality for their customers, and they do RBH as well as Focal. I know that's their two big lines. So I stepped in there for a while and talked to him, and definitely enjoyed it. I just didn't have time to really sit down and engage.
Right. Right. So we got a question here for Youth Man. It says, what was that Sound of Silence track you talked about the other day? Who was the artist, if I may
I
ask?
just
think
told
it's
Drew.
Geoff.
Oh, did you reply already? Okay.
Yeah, Castellucci or something like that. Geoff.
Yeah, Drew. He posted down there. It's Jeff Castellucci. That was awesome. I had never heard that. That guy. But at first, when I was listening to the demo in the RBH room, I'm sorry, no, the Black Swans room.
Yeah.
Cinemike.
Yeah, Cinemike. When I heard it, and it first hit that low frequency, holy cow, man, that was absolutely rocking. And at first I thought it was his voice that was doing that, but really he's got a really low voice, but they added some big time bass notes underneath it.
Nice.
Almost like a fill. Oh man, that's good. I got to check it out in my theater.
Yeah, I came home in my theater and I played it at reference level, and I was like, nope, not gonna do this to my beloved speakers.
Like they're gonna blow up.
It took that volume down quickly.
Yeah, definitely go check that out, guys. You got some good subwoofers. Jeff Castellucci.
Yeah,
What was the source of that
reference?
What source? Like just Apple Music, or
it's on Spotify. I listen to
it
on Spotify.
Yeah.
I think they were using well, at least they were using that today too. I think they were using Tidal, weren't they? Or
I think it was Tidal. Yeah.
Yeah. We got a question from Johnny E, also from Houston. Actually, I was sitting at the airport on Friday, and he came up to me, walked up. I was like, "Oh, what's up, man?" So we were on the same flight. But he says, "Did anyone record any of the home theater tours on Thursday night? I would like to see Ryan Chirpy, and Ryan Sharpetier with the Ascendo speakers and some home theater subs." I'll let Youthman talk about that. I don't know if that's part of your video on demand, but
no. So the video on demand is going to be all not all, but most of the seminars. We were able to film. Basically, Benny had 2 cameras that could record up to 2 hours. My camera can only record 30 minutes on the Canon. So Benny was set up with 2 different camera angles in the main seminar room. He was getting audio directly from the sound system. So there's going to be clean audio there. So there'll be those 5. I think there's 5 in there. And then there's 3 that Jake was able to film in the tech talk rooms, like in the other vendor rooms. Like I think he ended up getting the Dirac calibration one with Matt Trinkline from Storm Audio. So things like that. Man. Yeah, so those will be that video on demand. It'll basically be replays, and that's open to anybody that, even if you were there, you're like, man, I only got a chance to hear 3 of them. I really wish I would have heard that. Or, man, I learned so much, but I've already forgotten so much. I'd love to be able to hear that again. So we're going to give you lifetime access to that. The quick update on that is I literally got off the phone earlier today with the hotel. I was copying all the footage from the event to Jake's hard drive because I'm going to pay him to do the editing for those seminars. And here we are a week later, and they haven't even shipped it.
Oh, man.
You got to be kidding me. But they assured me they just got it out today, so he'll have it in the next, 2-3 days. He can start editing those. And basically, as he finishes those, we'll get those added to the website, MidwestAVEexperience.com. There's links on there that say video on demand. It's $75 for access to all. I think there's 8 of them. And it's a lifetime. We're not going to say, oh, you only get them for a month or whatever. Okay.
So Johnny, I actually was able to go to Sheldon's and Chirpy's room, Ryan Kramer. So I have pictures and stuff like that. So I'll be doing some content on that. I did Ryan's room. I mean, not Ryan. I'm sorry, Jonathan. I know we've seen a lot of Jonathan's room, on the podcast and everything else like that on Michael's podcast. Oh. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing anything on that, but yeah, no, those will definitely be coming out soon.
Vinny actually apparently he got a couple of the photos of some of the ones.
Nice.
And Jake and Benny
Beautiful,
did
man.
go around to most of the rooms to get. I don't know how much footage they got, but they did get some footage and photos to each room.
Hey, Michael, real quick.
Yeah.
Who is that actually got a bill for damage? Was that you or was that Jeff?
I think I was just totally kidding, man.
I was gonna. I was like, come on, man. Did they actually?
I was kidding. I was like, he's done structural damage to the building. So they've sent me a bill.
Well, what's funny is before I went into film, I was gonna go in there and do some B-roll, and they were like, hey, they want to go in and clean off the sheetrock dust from the speakers before you. I'm like, what? Yeah. And then I was like, oh snap, that's crazy.
That wall was real. It was last year and it
was on the floor too. I'm like, man, that is wild. Mm-hmm. Scott, what did you think of? Did you hear the RBH room?
Yeah, I did, and I heard him at Expona too a couple months back.
Okay.
But I've always enjoyed the way those speakers sound, and I'm a very visual person, so the stacked. I mean, that's kind of one of the reasons we enjoyed the RTJs so much. But there's certainly, I mean, RBH to me, they play loud, they play clean, and they're impactful, very dynamic. Imaging on them was good. I did some A and B comparison. I mean, I obviously own the RTJs as well, but I was trying to A and B them as quick as I could. And, audio memory only stays with you so long. So I kept trying to go from room to room. Obviously, they're not playing the same songs. And I don't know if it's just because I have a biased opinion, but I usually enjoyed the RTJs more than RBHs. The RBHs look like a finer piece of, furniture. Like if you're in a living room, I mean, I'm lucky over here that it doesn't matter so much with a significant other, but the RBHs have a more polished look to them. I just preferred the sound of the RTJs better, but that's not taken away from the RBHs. I believe they provided a good experience as well. Just not as wide as the sound stage as the RTJs were. And I enjoyed the bass more from the RTJs, but that's just me comparing those two.
Gotcha. So Chris Cameron says, so what's the plan for next year? Loved my weekend in KC. Any discounts for returning patrons? I'm guessing that's for Michael.
Wait, what was the question?
What's the plan for next year? Are there any?
I can't multitask with a flip.
Are there any discount for returning patrons? I assume that's aimed at you, Mike.
Honestly, I don't know. We've never thought about that. I guess the original thought is $75 for the whole weekend. Even if you came for one day, like on Saturday.
Yeah.
To me, that's like
I agree.
Kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. $25 a day for this type of show. I mean, that's your bargain right there. Right.
The most expensive thing for MWAVE, honestly, isn't the ticket. That's the cheapest thing. Like your food will cost you more than $75. Your parking at the downtown convention center is going to cost you more than $75.
My room cost me $1,000.
$1,000?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Yeah, the Marriott.
That's the expensive stuff. It's the travel, the flight, the hotel, the Uber or the car rental, the parking, and all that stuff. The ticket, all right, let's say for instance we gave you $25 off. I mean, that's cool, but the reality, if you really look at the financials of this thing, it's not like some kind of crazy moneymaker. This is not Cedia where we're charging $10,000 for a booth. Or actually, one of the brands told me at Cedia they charged them, I think it was $20,000 to get an Ethernet drop to their booth.
That is wild. I remember that.
Well, they'll nickel and dime you for everything, and no shade against Cedia. They've got a big, massive corporation that they have to run, and they have to pay their bills. Fortunately, MWAVE is a small outfit, so there's not a ton of overhead other than the rooms and the vendors and the hospitality room and videographers and things like that. There are definitely expenses, but we don't have massive expenses like they do.
Yeah. And those CD has been going on for how many years, so they've got to establish. Yeah. And it's a business, they got to.
And to be honest with you, Michael, I'm not worried about saving $25 on the ticket. The burrito outside cost me $17.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm glad I'm not the only one. When they told me the price, I was like, wait, what?
I said, I was just buying my burrito, not this guy's too. They're like, no, that's just yours.
I was like, oh snap, that's okay.
I got a call from them today. We owe them some money. Not a lot.
You shouldn't.
Well,
they got tons of business from Comic-Con people.
They did, but on Sunday, I don't know if they were there, and so that was the down day. So we owe them like $300. But if you really think about it, $300 to make sure the MWAVE guests have something.
No, that was fantastic. I have to say,
it was a great option. I didn't have to leave.
And that was Ryan's idea.
The year prior, I had to walk all the way down to like the supermarket or whatever. It was like 3 blocks down. Yep. So it was fantastic having those food trucks there. Yeah, they were a little costly, but hey, it's just like when you go into a convenience store, you're going to pay, you're going to pay through the nose, for a gallon of milk.
It kept people at the event because literally last year, 3 or 4 of us would go down to the bar and eat, and then that takes you away for 3 hours. Yep. And now, if 20 groups of people did that, now the event's down 60, 70 people.
Yeah, we did that last year. Ike, Rusty, and a couple of other guys. We walked down. What was that barbecue place?
I think it was County Road Ice House.
Yeah, but it was also like this. What was the barbecue place? It was
Joe's. I think it was Joe's.
Yeah,
Joe's something. Yeah.
It was like a dual restaurant thing. But yeah, so we got a $10 super chat. Appreciate that. I don't know whose channel it goes to, but thank you. First time MWAVE experience for me. Would do it again next year. Dune scene in JTR room was amazing. Couldn't attend Saturday and Sunday. Had to fly back home because wife is pregnant with our second child. Well, congrats, man.
Congratulations.
And thank your wife, man. That's that's impressive.
I'm almost embarrassed that you put him before your wife. Hopefully she didn't deliver when you got
right. But that's cool, man. Thank you for
dedication. For showing up. You got those 3 hours, and that, like I said, that $75 is well worth it, man. For 3 hours, I can't even eat out in South Florida for $75 for me and my wife.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Ike, did we ask you about the RBH room? What did you think?
I liked it. I think it's a good room for like home theater setups. I would say though that I kind of went in there with my expectations super high because Don had been talking about RBHs for the last only God knows, man. So and then I also walked in there right after I left the Stair Integrity and JTR room. So I think I had to go back the second day just to be able to sort of raise my palate, right? Because you leave JTR, you go anywhere else, it's like just forget about it.
Well, your ears have to recover anyway, so
so I think it's a good room for like a home theater setup. The clarity of the speakers and things like that. Yeah, I like it.
Cool. And Don?
Yeah. So if I'd have known about RBH prior to me I said this the other day on our show. If I'd have known about RBH prior to me building my theater, I would have definitely stuck to the one room option that I had. I'd knocked down a wall between my office and a garage, and with those on wall options that they have, those things sound phenomenal to me. I mean, the air motion tweeter that they have and everything else, it would have been a no-brainer for me to just put them all around the 13.5-foot wide room and 18-foot deep, and I could have had a theater like instantly rather than doing all this construction and everything else. So, like I'm a fan of the air motion tweeter. I have Martin Logan's, so the 60X Ti's. So I mean, I thought the mid range was a little bit more pronounced, and the highs were a little bit brighter than the Martin Logans. But I just a phenomenal speaker. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I really enjoyed the room, and I like the fact that they actually used the subs inside of the towers too. Right. So to kind of incorporate everything, just brought the 121 and use the other subs inside of the towers. So they blended it together very well.
Nice.
You see, Don loves the speakers, man. Like every week for the last probably 6 weeks, he's been talking about RBH. So
yeah.
Is this a super chat?
So yes, that's coming from
wow.
DKK.
Awesome. Calling all patrons and viewers. So people, let's get them $300.
I appreciate it.
That's awesome, man.
We're good, man. We've got it covered.
All right. Let's see. So the one of the biggest rooms that I did not get to see again, seems to be a theme because at CDI I missed the Trinov room, but I'm gonna have to let you guys talk about it because so they didn't actually get set up. I don't think they actually opened until like Saturday. It was like 10 at 10 or 11. So once that happened, the line was long. I was like, man, I don't have time to stand in line. Like I got stuff I got to do. So I knew I really wasn't going to get a chance. I literally never even walked in there. So, Michael, you filmed it. Did you actually get to hear it?
I did. So we actually had here's what I had to do. I texted Ross with Absolute Ultimate AV. They had contracted with me to film their room for Youth Man channel. And here it is, like the day before the last day. So it's Saturday. We've been busting our butts. We're running around like crazy. So I texted Ross. I said, Ross, like, when can I film your room? And I said, would it be possible if we were to come over before the show starts? You know, because they've had a line out the stinking door for the whole weekend. And I'm thinking, I don't want to wait in the line and then film and then shut down the line for 10 minutes or whatever it takes to film. So I said, could we come in at I think it was the show started at 10 on Sunday. So he said, yeah, how about let's meet at 8? So we get there at 8. Gramani's still tweaking the system. He's like, hey, I want to time align these. And then he's teaching us. He's like, check this out. Close your eyes. And so I'm closing my eyes. And so I'm pointing over here, helping him, like, not helping him, but basically like I'm visualizing, okay, I hear these two speakers, but we want to create a phantom center between them. And then we'll duplicate that setting and put it over here on the right side. And so we're doing that. And then he's telling us all about the room. And I'm looking at my watch going, all right, we got 30 minutes till I'm supposed to be on stage in the other room saying welcome that morning. And then we're like 10 minutes till, and then we're 5 minutes till. And I'm like, I'm sorry, we got to go. We did get some demos and it was awesome. It was kind of loud, definitely a little bit louder than what I typically would listen to, but phenomenal system. The Christie looked gorgeous. I just posted a video today, so if you get a chance, check that out. And one thing that's really cool, I'm going to show you this picture. Let me back up here. So outside the room, you can see this. Can y'all see my cursor?
Yeah.
Perfect.
I can. I don't know about the viewers, but I can.
I think the viewers, you guys can probably see that too. So if you can imagine, we're walking in the room from this side. So there's a door over here. So you walk into the room, you see this curtain on the right. So they basically like put up trusses in this room. You can see it right up here. So that's the rear part of the truss. And they put blackout curtains to get the room as dark as you can. Because, of course, the darker the room, the better the contrast on the projector. But then they built this crazy custom, it's called a hush box. And so this isn't anything fancy. It's not pretty, but it is 100% functional. And the idea of a hush box is you want your noise floor in your room to be as low as you can. So, you know, when you're building a room, you want to design your HVAC to be as quiet as it can, to be as efficient as it can. But the same thing, projector is pretty loud. So how can we quieten it? And in the video, we were on setup and I walk in there, I'm with my camera, I'm doing some behind the scenes for my patrons. And I walk around the corner and Gramani's sitting he's on his knees and he's doing some work. And he turns around and starts talking to me and he starts talking about the hush box. And I'm like, yeah, I saw this thing outside. This is so cool. And I walk back and he's like, well, let me show you and tell you about it. I'm like, well, let's do it. And so I actually included that clip. It's really cool. He explains how they designed it, what it did. And it's kind of like a muffler, really. So that was just a really, really cool room. You can see they had, what was that, like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13 seats in there.
And that was the only room that had acoustic treatment in there, right?
Yes, that is correct. You can see there's some diffusion here. I think some of these are absorption panels. And then he's got all of his speakers. They're on-wall speakers. And I believe his system is active. Well, yeah, it's active in the sense they run a Ethernet cable from the kind of like the processing side of it to each speaker, and then each speaker has its own internal amplification. I think.
Yeah, there's no passive crossover. It's all active.
No, I'm wrong. It goes out because he talked about it at CEDIA. You come out of the processor into the amplifiers, but then from there it goes to the speaker. But you're right. There's no internal crossovers. Yeah. That's all done actively on the processing side. So definitely a high end. I'm like, Gramani knows his stuff. He's literally a legend in the space.
That guy is so smart.
But this was a 220 inch wide. Let's see. Yeah, right here. So 220 inch, not diagonal.
That's
I think
crazy.
diagonal is like 243. 220 wide, massive, massive screen. But when you get to that size, you have to have something like a Barco. You have to have something like a Christie. And Epson isn't going to do that. Sony's not going to do that, except for like the GTZ 380 and the JVC, even their flagship NZ900 is not going to adequately fill that screen for HDR levels. But it was beautifully done. You can see his subwoofers are here. I think these are some smaller subwoofers. What did he say? He had like 12 subwoofers in the room. So just done very, very well here. Like I said, he was giving us kind of the rundown of what's going on. There's me pointing. I'm like, okay, hear the
Your
sound.
eyes closed?
Yes, because I wanted to visualize, like, okay, I didn't want my eyes to tell me or dictate where I was hearing the sound,
Right.
but it was cool because as he would adjust the delay, you could hear the sound going from two individual speakers, and those would actually combine in between to create a phantom center. So it was just really cool. Like I said, Ronnie knows his stuff, but very, very, definitely one of the best rooms at the show for sure. And there's some more subwoofers back there.
Yeah, hopefully if he comes back next year, I have to make that a priority since I didn't get to.
Man, you missed it.
Yeah, and we also got Digital Don in the house. What's up, Don? And yes, I did know this is my hat.
Did he used to be analog, Don, and now he switched to digital? What's this phone guy?
Nice. That's hilarious. Let's see, Rusty B. Did you hear? Did somebody leave? Or something about it.
I think somebody came in, it sounded like.
Yeah, that was weird. I don't know what that was. Rusty B, did you check out the Grimani room?
Yes, I did. I went there Saturday. Late. No, actually, I'm sorry. I went there Sunday because it was packed all day Saturday. And I was blown away. Just the clarity of really I was sitting in the back row off to the left side, and they had it so well calibrated that it still sounded amazing. I wasn't like being blasted by the speaker, you know, in the back left corner by my ear. So they had it very well calibrated. That Christie looked amazing on that 220-inch screen. It was impressive to see that on such a big screen. But yeah, overall, that was a really strong showing, and I think it was my favorite room, to be honest with you.
Nice. Brock, what did you think?
It was great. So Anthony Grimani, of course, amazing legend, and from Lucas, audio and THX, and so it was just neat to that this event brought that caliber on just expertise to the event. So he introduced. I mean, he did most of the introductions, and his teammate in sales was doing some of them. But he introduced it, talked about the room, and the room was better than the room that won at Cedia. Did I say that right? Is that where his room won?
Yeah.
Okay. So I can't remember if he brought more bed layer or more subs, but the MWAVE version was better than the Cedia room.
Yeah, that's what he told me.
And the Cedia room won. Okay. So obviously with the room treatments, it was dialed in. It was perfect. Having him present before and afterwards and be there for questions and answers made the room even more special.
Yeah.
And they like beef jerky, and they like vegan bars. There was a lot of vegan bar requests. It was the healthiest room. It was the healthiest snack request room at MWAVE.
So how did you get that stuff? Did you have somebody like run into a grocery store or something, or?
Between Rusty, myself, and Mike, help me
Scott
out, Rusty.
Friend, I think.
I'm sorry.
I think Scott Friend went and got some because I sent him.
And Mike Stevens one day.
Mike Stevens. Yeah. How could I forget the name Mike Stevens? Not Michael Stevens, but
Not me.
Mike Stevens. He had a truck there, and we just went to the store a couple times
like every day.
and I'm doing ice runs, and just do what you can. You can't buy it all in one day because you don't want to have too much stuff, and got to buy ice every day and stuff. So we had it was a team effort.
I appreciate that, man, because After you know that $18 burrito, I was like, I got a drink in the VIP room.
Yep.
Well, we wouldn't have had to made so many grocery runs if Jordan hadn't been in there eating everything.
Oh, money.
Hey, when you're 224 or no, yeah, 228, you gotta eat a little more. So
I seen him filling up his backpack a couple times. He's
I
like,
saw that too.
like, yeah, you seen that?
hey, I gotta eat on the plane, man.
He's the only person that actually made money being
Spirit doesn't give you peanuts, do they?
Yeah,
He was
not the ones they had.
selling them. He was out there selling them to the.
Related to the Comic Cons.
Spirit doesn't give mixed nuts to you on the plane.
We couldn't let
one thing
Kyle
I-
Life of Bliss. He wasn't even allowed in the room. He would have just cleared it out.
Yeah.
One thing I thought was cool about Grimani's room is I heard that he was basically telling the folks at the show, like, look, I'm offering a 30-minute consultation with me personally,
Yeah.
For anybody that's interested, basically.
Wow.
So that was pretty cool. So I think several people took him up. If you're building a room, don't just waste his time for crazy stuff. But if you're building a room, I'd love to just have a conversation with you, see if we'd be a good fit, see if we can help you out on the acoustic side of it, room design of it. Of course, I sell speakers, subwoofers. We can help you out with that as well. But love to have a conversation. So I thought that was really smart of him to utilize, people a lot of people come to MWAVE because they're building a home theater. They're wanting to get answers. Which speaker should I go with? Which subwoofers am I looking at? What amplifiers, processors, all that stuff. And so I just thought that was pretty cool. That was genius.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure.
Grimani was my best room at MWAVE. I went there, 4 or 5 times?
Oh man, that's why I couldn't get in there, man. You were hogging the seats.
He was hogging the seats. That's hilarious.
Press pass.
Oh, you
Yeah,
slid in the
press.
Well, I don't know if that was you. Somebody told me because I told them I was like, man, I'm not gonna get a chance. They were like, man, you're pressed. Just wave your badge and go in there. I was like, man, I ain't gonna skip everybody. I should have.
I went there to provide coverage. That's exactly what I did. I may have listened to it in the process of that, but yes, I think it is it was the best room, the best experience out there. Just from, I think like when you walk into like the SI room, Stereo Integrity, JTR, some of the other rooms, your focus is kind of bass, right? You kind of are directed, and even though they are great for everything, but I think for the Grimani room, it was like a complete home theater experience. I walked in there and it was amazing just listening to the clarity of the speakers. Whatever calibration they did there was turned out, like most people said, the first time it was running hot, which was when I kind of walked in there and I was like, nah, it doesn't sound good, especially on the rare surrounds. It was really hot, and then they dialed it in, and it was unfortunate though that it took that long to get it dialed in. I think more people would have loved to experience it, especially starting that Friday. So, yeah.
Well,
but
in their defense, and even the other vendors that were there as well, think about this: they're given 3 days.
Yeah,
that's
fully
rough.
not only calibrate.
Yeah,
So we're talking literally build a room inside a room, technically, with trusses, wiring everything up, setting it up, hanging the speakers, then dialing in. Let's just say they had 12 subwoofers. Well, I don't know if you've ever done like REW and tried to, timeline subwoofer. That is time consuming.
Yeah.
And so when you have a big system like this, and it's active, and it's, just there's a lot of parts to it. It takes time. And so what these vendors are able to do in a short period of time in 3 days.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's
almost, it's amazing. And I mean, it's not to point, it's not to point any fingers at that particular room, because I understand what goes into all of it. It was just that I felt sorry for the people who did not get a chance to experience it.
Thank you.
But yeah.
Wow. $260,000.
Yeah, Obsessed Garage is in the house. He was there also. He's got some videos. I know he did a vlog style, but yeah, $260,000. Man, that's more than my house.
Yeah.
Like a lot more than my house.
I wonder, do they take a post-dated check, you think?
Right. Rusty Minch, did you get in there?
I did. I went when Michael went, so I got to skip the line too.
We had to cheat.
That's the sweet deal right there. All right, so I was skeptical going into it because of all the hype around Grimani and like everybody's hyped it up so much. I'm going, there's no way this is going to be anywhere close to living up to all the hype. And I went in there and I was really impressed. What was interesting is Grimani is such a perfectionist. He was still calibrating while we're doing the demo
on day 3.
On day 3. And I think Matt was in there and he said, still a little bright. So he just turned it down. He said, hey, that's perfect. That now it's just right. I'm not sure what made his room so great. It's probably the combination of a bunch of things. Mm-hmm. The speakers, the Trenov, the calibration, the room correction, or all of that combined together. I wish I knew what was the most significant thing so I would know, what to pursue first. But as a total package, that was the best, most immersive room that I experienced over the weekend. So really enjoyed it.
Nice. Scott?
Well, this is funny. Well, it's not funny. It is what it is. I thought that the sound bubble was certainly there. It was very immersive. I sat front row, almost dead center, and I was in there with a buddy Ahmad, and then Jonathan Von Engel was a row behind me. So when we left, we were like, okay, in the count of 3, give your thoughts. And me and Jonathan both said not enough bass. Everybody's like, oh, that's because you're a bass head. But I feel that the mids and I understand that, yeah, I like bass maybe a little bit more than everybody else. But I feel that, first of all, the projector and the screen stole the show for me in there. I was just so immersed that I was just blown away by the image and the actual size of the screen the whole time. The mids and the highs sounded great. I think the calibration was great. For me, if it would have been perfect if the subs were like 4 or 6 dB hotter. That's just me personally. But Grimani was certainly my second favorite room there. So, but kudos to him for blacking out the room and making, actually the only thing that I felt bad was I was talking to a group of 3 guys that were literally on their way to their buddy's wedding, and they stopped at MWAVE to check out everybody. And all 3 guys were like, dude, the JTR room's down because they don't have no power, and Grimani's not showing tonight.
Yeah, dang.
He's like, man, and we've spent like an extra $600 to stop here, get a room for the night, flying out in the morning. Yeah. So I was like, dang, that sucks for those guys. But no, Grimani, I mean, I think he had a good show, good performance, and I'm sure Michael won't know anything for a while, but hopefully they come back again next year. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I did see him comment on, what was it? Maybe on Facebook or something. He said he had a great show. Like he was really pleased with it. Nice. So we'll see.
Cool.
Don?
So for me, this was the most immersive room out of all of them. I went in 3 times, and I did make Ike wait in line with me when we went in. So he didn't go in. He didn't butt the line every time. But so anyway, this was by far the most immersive room for me. I sat in 3 different seats purposely, right? So when I went in, the sound was the first time that I went in, the sound was definitely hot. It was everybody even said it was a little loud. Even the presenter, it wasn't Grimani, it was the other guy. He actually said, this is a little loud for me. Yeah. But all you have to do is back it down a little bit, so, but for him to bring the treatments, and as you can see in that picture, they actually go back real quick. You can actually see that they actually hung a drape across the whole entire top of the trusses and stuff there because they wanted to black out the entire room. So by me saying that this is the most immersive room, you got a 220-inch screen, you have a Christie projector, And then, you got treatments, which most of the other rooms didn't have any type of treatments. And to be honest with you, there wasn't a lot of treatment there, but it did a very, very good job. So
and
to me,
are those diffusion panels?
Yeah, it looks like it right here.
Yeah,
these white ones. I think they're
he had some black ones too that were
that one looks like
cube-shaped.
That should be an absorption on the bottom.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Here.
It's hard to see because it's black.
Yeah, so there's absorption here, looks like absorption there, but then some diffusion up higher. And he knows basically he told me he designed, like, he'll draw it in, like, I think CAD. So they drew it up. They figured out where they need to place the speakers, where they need to place the acoustic treatments and everything. And here you see this dude was a stinking rock star, man. Yeah. Lou's amazing. He's there every year. He's probably the hardest working volunteer at the show, man.
Oh, that's awesome.
He's like 70 something.
Oh, wow. So I have a question. Can you go back a couple pictures?
Sure.
Let me see. Keep going. Right there.
Okay.
So what type of are these, like, metal wiring? Like, how is he hanging those speakers?
Sure. So think of, you got trussing up here,
right?
And so those are just supporting the speakers because they're on-wall speakers.
So my question is, did they move with the bass? Like, were they ever moving, or did they stay?
I didn't notice it.
I didn't notice them moving.
120-inch screen.
Because I kept seeing the pictures. I was like, man, I wondered those things. Do they sway at all? Or
yeah,
I mean,
but I guess
it didn't really move. I mean, you could see them move a little bit, but not very much at all. It was very minimal movement when I was filming some of them. I did see slight movement, but very, very little.
Gotcha.
There's some behind the scenes stuff here during setup.
Yeah, Gramani is super smart.
You can see what the naked room looks like before they put he told me he had to modify this. So he hired a company to come and set this up. They were local, but the original room dimensions that I gave him included all the way to this wall to this wall. Well, the problem is, you see this little, I don't know what you call this thing right here, that little white thing up top,
like a header.
Yeah. So that's like another couple of feet out from the room. And so when you're building this truss, you can't build on the other side of that header. And so they had to shave this thing. So fortunately, it's hard to see it, but I think it's this right here. The truss company actually had these really small pieces, about 2 foot long, and that was just perfect. So if they didn't have that, the truss system would not have fit in this room.
Wow.
So yeah, but
and I'm sure those trusses aren't easy to, like, set up either.
Yeah, and they're expensive. I mean, it's probably $6,000 just to bring, and Gramani pays for that.
Man.
So for him to be able to put that type of investment, bring in all the people and the hardware and the calibration, and so he sees the value in it. So that was pretty awesome. But definitely a great room here.
Yeah, no, like I said, it was definitely the most immersive for me. Seat to seat variation, there was none. So I mean, it was just really, really well put together.
I was gonna say, what's JVC Rob doing in there?
I fixed it on my end, but on Benny's end, this is like some Valencia seats, and it just got put in the wrong category. Yeah, so like OSD. Yep.
Yeah, I missed getting to talk to those guys. All right, what about? I already gave my thoughts on the video, but this was a popular room as it was last year.
The power that rivals JTR. I'm sorry, Mr. Jeff.
And you have JTR, so you can say this.
Well, I have RTJ subs, but
RTJ.
But what they were doing in that stereo integrity when they were, I don't know if they were just trying to power test it, because it was popping too.
Oh yeah.
On Friday when they were setting up, but the JTR room and the stereo integrity room were the only rooms I know of that were dropping lights, and they caused a little minuscule damage. It wasn't damage; but stuff was popping out of the ceiling. Man, they had 6, right? Did they have 6 24s?
8 24s.
8 24s.
8. It rattled me more than the extreme demo at the end of the day at JTR. So I don't know if any of you were in there for that. Did any of you get to feel like full force?
I did. Yeah.
That was amazing, right?
Yeah.
It was insane. I mean, obviously there's more that goes to it than just feeling your intestines. But I mean, I just want to say the power in that room was incredible.
Yeah. That's I kept hearing that from everybody. Yeah, so he also brought more subs. I don't remember how many he had last year, but
he had half of this last year. So he had, I
half.
think,
Okay.
4. So he went from 4 to 8. And I think, honestly, probably after he saw Jeff say, "Hey, I'm bringing 8 of my subs," he's like, "Well, or what do you call it in betting? You're like, I see your offer and I'll raise it."
Right.
Yep. He was upping the ante.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Rusty B, what did you think?
I thought it was awesome. I went in there multiple times, and I felt like the first day I went in there, it was a little. I expected more, but they had it turned down. I later found out because they kept popping breakers.
Yeah, they were popping breakers too.
Yeah, they were tripping.
When I went in there the second time, I believe that was first thing Sunday morning, and they weren't popping breakers, and they had it turned up loud, and it was awesome. I pulled a chair up about 2 feet from one, just to like, I wonder what this would be like for near field subs. So they were awesome.
Yeah, everybody loved that room. Let's hear from the bass head, Scott.
But did they? I was talking to Nick, and I've met Nick before, so I've always been a fan of how the 24-inch carbon fiber driver looks. I think it's an impressive looking driver. Beautiful. For sure. The only thing that kind of throws me, and this isn't bashing stereo integrity at all. It's just it looks very plain when you go in there. It'd be cool to see a couple movie clips or something, because we're all home theater guys. We're used to movie clips a lot.
They did no video this year.
A lot of music too, obviously.
Yeah,
of course. One thing, like, just say, because you guys are comparing JTR and stereo integrity, one thing I like about the JTR subs of being ported is you feel a lot of the port wind coming at you too, and that feels kind of cool coming from the subs. I would like to I'd like to see the stereo integrity room have some videos, if they're going to become part of MWAVE again next year. I think, well, you know what, actually I think that Nick has reached out to see more screens to see if he wants to be part of his room or something next year. Maybe I've seen somebody else talking about that, but I think that would be cool, just so we could watch a Ready Player One scene or something in there and just feel how the impact of that would be, instead of just the rebased music.
Yeah, because they had video last year, and I actually didn't even realize it until I was interviewing, and he said it, and I looked, I was like, oh yeah, there's no video in here. I think they were just doing music.
So, like, if you walk into the other rooms, they were visually more appealing, just because we're stimulated by so much more stuff.
Yeah, and
it was just kind of, bare. I mean, I enjoyed my time in there, and I enjoyed my time talking with Nick and talking to the people that were in that room. I was just understimulated, I guess, But they put on a good show. A lot of people liked them. I enjoyed my time in there, so that's just my thoughts.
And that's good feedback to let the vendors know directly. The great thing is a lot of these vendors are active on Facebook and stuff. And so start a conversation with them. Let them know what your thoughts are of it. And, say, man, I would love to see, a movie clip on there. And I know some of the brands wanted to mix it up this year. Like Nick, he wanted to do more music. Oh my goodness, I'm drawing a blank. Martin Logan. So their room, man, we can't compete with JTR. We can't compete with stereo integrity. But what we can do is show people and give them an experience that a lot of people have not had the opportunity to hear. And that was Dolby Atmos music and spatial audio. And so I heard that, and that was another room I didn't get a chance to go into. But they're like, this thing, they said it was incredible. Sounded really good. So they were just wanting to give some different experiences for the attendees.
For a 2-channel setup, right? That room was crazy. It was good. I think I was even more impressed this year than last year, but obviously I think they had twice the amount of subwoofers. But it was great. And I think getting to interview Nick and just hear his story and things like that, that was the most interesting part for me in that room, But yeah, the subwoofers, and they look good, man. I think that's one of those big ones that you can get away with for the WAF factor, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna be a lot easier to sell to my wife stereo integrity subwoofers than any other brands.
And just seeing those, there's something about those stereo integrity subwoofers when you see them flexing, it just looks cool, man.
It just looks
carbon
cool,
fiber,
man. Yeah, and those towers they had there, man. They need to talk.
I didn't even know they sold.
They need to talk
speakers.
about that, man, because wow, that thing looked good.
I think that's something they're just coming out with, is what they mentioned. So yeah,
Nick's a smart guy too, man.
Yeah, that might make me, reconsider my whole in-wall thing, right? Those towers look good, man. I was like, wow, okay, you need to get this out in the market quickly.
Yeah,
so yeah. I don't want to rank any rooms, but this is my top 3 rooms out there, man.
Nice. Hey, we got Paul. Sorry, we got Paul Muto. What's up, Paul? I haven't talked to him in a while. He says we are working on the Seymour Screen Excellence, Storm Audio, Ascendo, Christie, Lumigen, Movia, Cedia Expo demo. What clips do you like to see?
Nice. So it just shows you they're listening. So
yep.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't know what Movia is.
You probably haven't thought about this. There's a movie called Ready Player One.
Yeah, right.
They're in a race.
Yeah.
You should look into that scene.
You know what's funny about that is, and I get it. I get the sentiment, but I heard a lot of people, they were like, can we get something else other than Ready Player One? Which I understand, but it's one of those, it's reference, man, because you get everything. You get dynamics, you get the bass, you get the tactile, you get the atmospheric stuff. So it's like, I don't want it to go away, but I can understand how some people will, actually, there's a lot of movies that have come out this year in the theaters. I think there's going to be some new demo material the next year.
But it also helps, right? It helps because you know that
You're
clip
used to
so
it.
well.
Exactly.
Right,
That's why, like, you always go, if you get something new for your theater, most people, you go back and watch A New Hope. You go back because you've seen it, except for Michael.
And you know what it's supposed to sound like.
Because you've seen it so much,
Correct.
you know like, okay,
You know
I
what to
can
listen
see
for.
a difference.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it does help having Ready Player One, but agreed, they could you could expand a little bit.
Yeah, it can be crazy because especially for people who attend a lot of shows, right? I think like for me last year, I think I went yeah.
What do you want? Want.
You got mail.
That's hilarious. Mitch, what did you think about stereo integrity?
Yeah, kind of second some of the things that Scott was saying, that I would have liked to have seen some movie demos. Yeah, the music, I'll just say the music they were playing wasn't really my music, so I didn't hang out too long. But yeah, I think it would have been some great tactile bass, especially if they were lined up behind some theater seats. That would have been fun to see.
And actually, it's funny because on Saturday I was walking by. I didn't know where it was coming from, but I heard some music from Godzilla -1, and I was like, "Who? Somebody has this? I know it." And then I didn't hear it again until Sunday. I walked past RBH room and I was like, "Oh snap, they have it!" And I actually wanted, and I know it's hard to get. I actually wanted to hear that on the JTR system, and they had an RBH, but I was like, I'm actually kind of scared to hear that. If he plays that at reference, I don't want to be in there when he does that. But that, if more people can get that demo, that's an excellent. If you haven't heard it in 4K Blu-ray, oh my God, that movie is incredible.
Which movie are you talking about?
Godzilla -1.
Oh, I thought you were talking about The Notebook.
Yeah, well, that too. That's reference. Yeah. Let's see. Mike, did you go in there to demo? Did you get a chance to stereo integrity?
Me?
Yeah, Michael.
Oh, so there was another Mike. There's like 30 of us on this.
I know. I got to remember that.
So again, that was the very first on. I think it was either late Saturday night or maybe Sunday. I'm like, I want to get, because every year it's like we're so busy hustling and working and making sure the vendors got what they need, and of course talking to people. I love the community aspect. It's hard to just enjoy it as an enthusiast. And so I had to force myself, like, I'm going to go hit as many as I can. So stereo integrity, I went in there first. So I heard maybe two songs. He was playing kind of some orchestral which honestly I'm not too down with. That's just not
So
what I would.
that, just to elaborate on that, he was, because I have the same demo. He was actually playing the HSU shoe research demo disc because I
Yeah,
have the exact same
got
one.
that.
And he started playing that. I was like, oh yeah, I have that one. So
Yeah.
that he was just kind of, he actually put that on for me so that I could get the driver, flexing and stuff. But hey, we got to stop the FOMO in the house.
What's up, FOMO?
What's going on, man? Good
Add
to
him
see
to
you.
the stage.
Yeah, hop in, bro, if you want. I'll somebody send them the link. Yeah, Stop the FOMO was there. They had a great show in there with the Sony TVs. I was in there for a very little bit right when they started, just filming. I didn't actually get to see the whole thing, but I mean, I was there last year. These guys did a great show, and they had way more TVs this year. And man, Stop the FOMO. I actually got a chance to sit down and talk with him during dinner on the VIP dinner that we had on Saturday. And super cool guy, super knowledgeable, and we had a great time. George was there. Theater at Home, and I'm actually going to be having him on a podcast in a couple weeks, so got to meet him. So
He's a great dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Let's see. Yeah, Godzilla -1 has some great bass, and Stop the FOMO gave us a super chat, so appreciate that.
FOMO dropped his video. I mentioned that in the chat.
Yeah, I just saw that earlier.
He and Brian did an incredible job as well. They always
Brian too.
do. Yeah. So they basically they did a seminar this year, which was really cool.
Yeah.
Rusty headed up all the seminars, lining those up. Did a great job with that. And so FOMO was like, we're going to teach, of course they've got their demos that they do throughout the day, but a certain part of each day, I think it was Saturday and Sunday, about an hour time slot. They just went into like education mode, which was awesome, man. And so go check out that video definitely after the stream or maybe sometime tomorrow.
Evangelist says, I got a picture with Stop the FOMO. Nice. I think Don's the only one left on the stereo integrity. What do you think, Don?
So I really enjoyed the room. It definitely produced a lot of bass. Share that picture real quick. Michael actually took this picture of me.
Where's that one?
Wrong one.
Do you have it? This one down here. There.
Yeah, I was working, so I can at least show my wife that I was working.
He was bored and sleeping.
So yeah, no, I mean, I took a lot of bass. How you take a video of the speaker flexing. I took a lot of that. I mean, those are just some phenomenal speakers. I got to visit, what's the guy's name? Sheldon. Sheldon has 16. Not of the carbon fibers, but of the other 18s that they have. I think they run about $300 a piece.
16?
16 18s in his room of the stereo integrity. And I tell you, man, that if you, it's hard to go to that room first and then go to other people's rooms and even to some, the type of bass guy had easily compared to, JTR or RTJ and, it was just unbelievable what he did in his room, and but yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed. I like bass too, so I thoroughly enjoyed this room.
Awesome. Home Theater, man. Home Theater Denmark. He's always in the chat, always in the comments. Appreciate you tuning in. Go get some rest, man. Every time he logs on, he's like, yeah, it's like 4 a.m. here. I'm like, dude. Well, first of all, thanks, but man, get some sleep.
We'll have this on the replay. You can check it out. Right? He wants to be a part of the conversation, which again, it's all about the community, man. So we appreciate you being here, man. Get some rest.
All right, last topic, and just by the way, everybody, obviously there's 8 of us, and we can't talk about every single room, so I wanted to hit like the big topics. But last one, Ascendo room, and then we'll talk about maybe hit some start comments, and then I know I wanted to talk about Rusty, Youth Man, and Obsessed Garages in the chat, but they're Obsessed Home Theater. But I'll talk on the Ascendo room, and then I'll let everybody else chime in. So I thought the Ascendo room was cool. Sounded good, and I've heard bigger Ascendo rooms before too. But so if you can see there in the picture, they had 16 16-inch subs. Now, from what Jeffrey told me, is that these are kind of like their, I don't want to use the word cheap, but he said they're like the cheap entry level. So more affordable. They had 16. They had 6 stacked on both sides, and then there was 4 in the middle.
Picture.
For me, with that many subs, I thought the bass was like lacking, and I was expecting a lot more tactile response, and I didn't get that. And it was kind of weird. I felt, and this was just me, I felt the bass like kind of like in a circle around me, but I felt nothing in the center. Usually with that many subs, you feel it in your chest, you feel it in your gut, your back. And I don't know, I was just expecting more bass out of the system.
Yeah.
But the picture was great, and you know, it sounded good. I just go
do
ahead.
you think, Jordan, that even could be calibration? Because I know I've been to home theater tours, and people like Matthew Pose, prime example. I go over to his house. He's got capable subwoofers. And he said, Michael, I know you like your subs hot, so I created a preset that's like
nice
6 dB plus or 8 dB plus, more than what I would normally do. And so when Matthew, you know, he had his level, I'm like, yeah, that's cute. You know what I mean? It's like, that's cool. But one thing that I felt with the Ascendo room is it was very balanced. They worked.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't over the top on anything. So that, I don't know. Maybe they needed more horsepower in that for that size room. But I would like to think that 16s ought to be able to do pretty well.
That's what I thought.
I'm wondering if maybe it's even just calibration that they just chose this is a more balanced room, because you notice they didn't really go up to reference. I mean, they were probably below reference, I would think. They definitely were not as loud as Romani and JTR and some of the other rooms.
Well, and also too along that line is I think some of the demo content, because when I went in there, the first demo that they played was Angry Birds Part 2, and I was like, really? With 16-inch subs, Angry Birds Part 2? So that could have been a part of it too. Let's see. Matt has cute bass per youth man.
I can't believe we said that live, man. I'm like, yeah, Matt's gonna rag me for that.
That's hilarious. Let's see. Ike.
I think my sentiments are the same as yours, right? I walked in there. I actually had to go closer and try to count the number of subwoofers because I think I was expecting more. But like Youthman said, it's either calibration or I don't think maybe their focus was the bass, right? Maybe they just wanted to level. I feel like they wanted to go with the whole spatial audio thing.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to do that if your room is sounding like JTRs, right? For spatial audio. So maybe that was the target goal, you know, but the whole 16 sub just kind of leaned my expectation in a particular direction. But overall, I think the room sounded really, really good. I came home and I'm seriously now reconsidering my in-ceiling speakers. Yeah, I think I'm ready to go back to on-ceiling speakers.
This image was gorgeous, by the way.
Oh man! And was that a
that was a
Christie? Okay.
They used the same one. It was the MK. Help me out. It's like MK15 something. It's a 1080p pixel shifter, so it's not a native 4K. It's upscaled to 4K basically, or maybe not upscaled, but it's a faux 4K basically. Same model as the one in the Romani Systems room. The only difference is they were using different lenses. But I thought this one looked really, really nice. It's a smaller image, much smaller than one. The
image was beautiful.
It was
I got a picture of that projector if you want to share it.
Yeah, for sure. Throw it up there.
Rusty B, did you go in there?
Yes, I did. I thought,
there we go.
You know, if
Joey Peacock, what's up, man?
What's up, brother?
If
what's up, Joey?
If they wouldn't have said there were 16 subs in there, you know, if I didn't know that, I would have been very happy with the room. But the fact that I knew there were 16-inch subs in there, I was expecting more.
Yeah.
But I still don't think it was like bassless. No, it had bass. It wasn't what you were expecting.
Right. It didn't sound bad at all.
No, it sounded clean. And then outside of the bass, it sounded more than clean. Like their Atmos speakers and everything were very well calibrated, and I thought it was a very clean sounding room. And that's the first time I'd heard Ascendo, and so I was impressed. I like it. I'd buy it. And then the Angry Birds. I don't know if they were doing that just to show off the Christie.
Yeah, maybe that's true.
Because it was just straight dialogue.
I don't think I would have led with that, just because like I said, when I walked in, I was like, had no idea what was in there, and then I saw the room. I was like, oh snap, there's 16 subs. All right, let's go. And then I was like, wait,
We're just chilling.
Scott said Jordan got angry watching Angry Birds.
Yeah. Well, think about this too. So Tony, SOWK, he's in the chat. One thing that I learned when he does demos at his house is you kind of start off like small.
That's true. Yeah, that's
he
good.
does like 2 channels, and then he'll go to a demo and he'll add a couple more speakers, and then he'll add some subwoofers, and then he'll add the butt kickers, and then he'll add the Crosons, and then he'll add the wind, and so, and gradually he's building up the volume as well, so that you don't walk in and it's just balls to the wall, going nuts, and the whole room's about to fall apart. So maybe that was their thought there, or they wanted to show different features. Like, okay, this is maybe a great demo of Atmos. This is a great demo of dialogue. This is a great demo of, tactile, and then maybe a great demo of this beautiful projector that we've got.
Yeah, and just a shout out to Joey Peacock. Pretty much everybody was using MadVRs, right? And at least in most of the big rooms.
Yeah.
JTR, Germani, who else?
I think
Ascendo was, yeah, that's right.
RBH, maybe?
RBH.
Joe, you can let us know. He's in the chat.
Yeah. I know they were using I think they were using a JVC in the RBH, right? Because
and they even have one on the big what is it, LG 98-inch in the hallway.
Oh yeah, in the hallway. Yeah.
They were showing, hey, this is, a lot of you guys have TVs. It's not just for projectors.
Okay, so Joey
I was
says
actually very impressed by that.
Yeah,
I knew it made a big difference on projectors, but I didn't know it did on TVs.
Yeah.
Funny, Joey.
Joey says the goal of the room was to simulate someone's closed-in garage. Angry Birds was to show folks how the kids and grandkids would enjoy a system like this.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so I didn't actually get to like stand in front of that LG and like see the side-by-side demos, but I saw the picture and I was like, man, that thing looks awesome. So, but yeah, you can use the MadVR on projectors, TVs. I mean, and then I think Joey said in the video when I was interviewing him, he's like, you can use it with any content. I mean, it does all kinds of stuff. Scott, what did you think of the Ascendo room?
Oh, somebody's at somebody's door. I heard a doorbell go off.
That's not me.
No. So this is what I think one of the problems just about all these rooms, about having all these rooms going together as one time. So pretty much I made the mistake. So I went from the GTR room, which to me was the best bass experience, to the stereo integrity room, which had a really good bass experience, back to the GTR room, and then to that Ascendo room. So you're already so overstimulated with insane bass. And when you're hearing, 16 subwoofers, we'll bring it on, because that's what I've been all about for the last couple hours.
Yeah.
I think that if you gave yourself a break for 2 or 3 days and then went and experienced that room,
might be different.
Then you would probably appreciate it a little bit more. It wasn't on, at the top of my list. It wasn't a bad room by any means. And one thing, since we're talking about Ascendo, the mistake, and I made a mistake at this event too, is I listened to the Black Swans, Ascendo Black Swans, and I wasn't thoroughly impressed with them Friday night. Super late in the night, I went to Ryan's room, and I said, man, I would have thought that the Black Swans would have sounded better in the large room at MWAVE. They actually sound better in your room. So on Saturday at MWAVE, I didn't bother going back into Black Swan room, because I just thought, it was an okay experience. I don't need that experience again. But then talking with Jonathan Von Engel, he goes, I wasn't that impressed Friday. He goes, Saturday, they made me cry. He goes, they literally changed. He goes, they got him dialed in perfect. And he goes, it's been a long time since the speakers made me cry, and actual tear was coming down my face on Saturday.
Wow.
So now I'm like, crap. I wish I would have went back in there, because like every other room on Friday night, guys are just getting stuff dialed in, last minute things. So I didn't do myself any good services by not going back into that room. But that's just my thoughts on everything.
Minch?
All right. So the Ascendo room. So my perspective's changed a few times on several rooms. And I think part of it was because of the calibration as the show progressed. But the first time I went to the Ascendo room, I thought that it had black swans behind the screen. So my expectations were just like through the roof.
Yeah.
And that's my first time to ever hear them. And I walked out going, meh, like it's okay, but I didn't think it was all that great. But I was thinking, I'm thinking this is I don't know, what are those speakers, 30 grand a piece or something? Thought it was good, but it wasn't that good. Well, I went in again on Sunday late afternoon, and then I realized that like these are their kind of, I don't know if they're entry level, but they're more affordable speakers. And I thought that it's a very tasteful, well balanced, it was a very cohesive room, and I really enjoyed it, especially for that price range. I said, okay, that makes sense to me. I think that's a good product. The sub stuff, I don't know. Somebody told me on Friday night that the chest slam was just insane, more so than their I think they have 24-inch subs at home. When I went in there on Sunday, it wasn't that way. So it could just be that they were adjusting settings throughout the weekend.
Yeah.
But I do want to touch on the other, it was Cinemike, a Shindo room. The Black Swans, 2-channel setup, and they were playing movie demos when I first walked in. And I was far from impressed. But it's kind of, they're down mixing a 5.1 movie trailer into 2-channel, and it wasn't really very good. And I said, hey, because those, like, I got to hang out with the Germans for a while during setup, and they were really cool guys. I enjoyed hanging out with them. And I said, can you play some music? He just handed me his phone and said, just play whatever. And my goodness, on the music, on the 2-channel music, those speakers were amazing.
Yeah, they're pretty impressive.
Really, really enjoyed it. Like they live up to, I think they live up to the price. I mean, I still wouldn't, I'm not there yet, maybe someday. But when you start totaling it up with the subs and the amps and everything, it gets steep quick. But they really are amazing. But I gotta say, to me, last year the standout of the show, like there are so many great rooms. The ones I always like is the ones that come as a surprise.
Yeah.
Last year I was really surprised by the SBS room. It was their prime bookshelf. And a lot of it is because maybe, a lot of it has to do with expectations. I wasn't expecting a whole lot. And when I listened to it, man, this is amazing. And then I heard the price for the whole room. I was like,
yeah, like $6,000 or something.
Really amazing. Yep. Yeah. Outstanding value. And this year, I didn't even hear that room because they were breaking down early. But I went, so I'll give credit where due. On the first day, Matt told me Martin Logan, like that's the room. I said, no, I've heard Martin Logan. I've heard the 60 XTIs, and like they're always good, but they're not stole the show good. It was always just like really rock solid value, and I've always enjoyed them, but I never thought they were amazing. And they've been at the show every year. I've heard the Neoliths, again, great speakers, but after a while they started to get old because they're pretty bright, or they were calibrated that way. And so I wasn't looking forward to it. It's like, no, you gotta check it out. And I really enjoyed their Atmos setup.
Yeah, that was cool.
I don't know what they did, but that sound stage was enormous. Like the whole room had a huge sound bubble. They're playing Elton John, which I'm not an Elton John fan, and I still really enjoyed.
You were crying, Rusty.
Do what?
He's crying.
He's still crying.
I am, man.
It got you emotional. Got you all in the feels.
Yeah, they hit me right in the feels. So that was, to me, like there's a ton of great rooms. I love JTR. Gramani had everything dialed in. The Shindo stuff was a ton of fun, but those Martin Logans, it was a big surprise how they sounded.
So Rusty, this is the video that I'm working on right now. That's my thumbnail.
Nice.
I can't see it; it's so tiny. But
it says Martin Logan stole the show.
Oh, well, there you go.
So
And,
that's the video I'm working on right now. That's my thumbnail.
Well, and I just stole your thumbnail.
Yes, you did.
And like I said, Matt said it first, and I didn't believe him. And when I did it for myself, I'm like, it really was good. So I'm actually surprised more people aren't talking about that particular room.
I was going to.
Well, there. You got some catch up to do.
Why don't you go next, Don, and then we'll get Brock.
All right. So for the Ascendo room, look, I think it's a tale of two different days, right? Because there was actually two different demo clips that they set up. So I went on the first night. I think I went with Ike on the first night. And literally, we were watching Godzilla versus Kong. I don't know which one it was, but I mean, the light coming from that light cannon, just, I mean, I looked over at Ike, and when Godzilla shot that beam of light across to Kong, Ike was like this. I mean, it was bright, right? So, and there was a ton of bass. I mean, there was a lot of bass in that room for that demo clip. So I truly think that it was a tale of two demos, right? The second day I went in, they showed Angry Birds, like you said. And I think that was more or less just to show off the projector, because I'm telling you what, I've never seen a better image on a screen before. And that it was just amazing to look at that, that projector shine. It was really, really dialed in. The Mad VR was doing a fantastic job. It was a great room to me. I don't think it was as immersive as the Gramani room, but it was definitely a great room. It was worth going for me to go in there two to three. I think I went in there 3 times. So it was a really good room. And I'll save the Martin Logan comments if we want to comment on the end, just on another room.
Brock?
I did not spend any time in there, but I had heard great feedback from the room as being the most balanced. I think there were not a lot of females and wives present, but the ones that were enjoyed that room the best. I think that was just because they had it balanced, like you would you would listen in your own home. I think the criticalness of the 1616s, one thing, they were all up front, and I'm telling you, it makes a difference. And I'm sure someone can tell me why it doesn't, and bass isn't directional, but when you're sandwiched back in front, I don't know if it's, whether it's the nodes and where it dips out or whatever, but you can feel a difference when you're in a room surrounded by subs and when it's all just on the front soundstage. It does make a difference. So that might, if they circled them, that might have changed how most people perceived the bass. But I heard good comments about the room, and I guess that's really all I could say. And if they were really focused on bass, they would have brought their 80 inch and their 50 inch.
Right.
True.
Right. If they really wanted to kill bass, then they would have gone, okay, here's the biggest ones in the world. Get ready. So that wasn't their focus.
Yeah, I don't think it was either.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Somebody brought up, I didn't actually see that in there, but Mario Brothers, that would have been an excellent. Yeah. That probably would have been too bright, but
they did that's Mario in the other room. I know that.
Which one?
Gramani.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got some pictures on. Actually, in my video, in the interview, you'll see some pictures of Mario in that. So.
Well, Rusty stepped away, so when he comes back, I want to have you and him kind of close out because we're coming up on 2 hours already. I'm hungry. Scott's hungry.
I'm ordering food for all of us.
I know, right?
What kind of party is
this? Coming to his house.
When Scott invites guests over, he has a taco truck outside.
Right. I know. I can't beat that. I can have some Uber Eats maybe. But yeah, I guess while we wait for Rusty, what did you want to say about the Martin Logan, Don?
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if you saw it earlier, but if you can key in on that. I got a video coming out.
Hold on a second.
There we go.
Where are you? There you are.
There you go.
So that's my thumbnail.
I like it.
So I truly believe that this room stole the show. I like the fact that they came in there doing something totally different.
Yeah.
The electrostats are just, the highs, and they're just so airy and dynamic. I mean, it's just such a pronounced sound to them. And then to add the spatial audio, and that's what they focused on for me. It really took my breath away, to be honest with you, sitting in there listening to those rooms. Of course, I am a Martin Logan fan. However, I don't have the electrostats, but it was really a great room for me, and I'm not a huge music listener, but to sit in there and listen to some of the music, and they were using the Apple Music spatial audio. It was just phenomenal. It really, really was. So that room for me just stole the show. It wasn't something that I was expecting, and it really did well. Their subwoofers are no slouch either. I think they had 6 dual opposing 15s in those rooms. Mm-hmm. Those were no slouch. I was very impressed with their subwoofers and the way that they blended everything together.
Nice. I see where Rusty went. He went to go get drinks, man. Where's ours at?
I also got a cookie, but I already ate that.
Oh, so. Nice. Well, why don't we go ahead and close out? Rusty and Youthman, you guys are working on a new project. I know Michael kind of talked about it a little bit, and I talked to Rusty a little bit. But why don't you guys talk about your Obsessed Home Theater, and then we'll go ahead and close it out.
Yeah. So I did during our 1000th video on my channel. I'm like looking at the past, looking at kind of present with MWAVE, and then I began to share about the future. And part of the future is this new endeavor that we're looking at, creating a brand and creating a business called Obsessed Home Theater. And so we partnered with Matt Mormon with Obsessed Garage. Rusty's a part of that. We are super pumped. So we're not giving you all the details. We're just going to give you I gave a little teaser in the video, but man, like, I really think that the number one question I get, bar none, on my channel, and probably you guys as well, what should I buy? I'm looking at Kef and I'm looking at this. They both fit my budget, but what should I go with? And so we believe that Obsessed Home Theater is going to provide a lot of those answers through that. So I'll leave that at that.
Rusty, you got anything to say? To add?
Yeah. So our goal isn't to be everything. It's to help make the buying process easier by curating the products that we endorse and that Michael endorses. And so I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do a lot of education, a lot of curating. This is something, I've known Matt now for 7 or 8 years, been a fan of what he's done in the auto space, in the garage space, and the house space of going out and finding the best, and then making that easy to buy. And so, I've supported him. We've been friends. Then, a few months ago, going through all these changes in business, that was when, in just a casual conversation, I had mentioned to Michael, I was going to have a lot of free time on my hands. At least I thought I was.
You thought you were.
Yeah. It was not. I still don't have free time on my hands, but it was perfect. The whole thing was perfect. So I volunteered and said, I just want to do this for the community, for fun. Might as well while I've got this free time. And then during that process, and I told him, I said, I'm looking for the next thing. I don't know what that's going to be, but I want it to be something fun, something that I love, which is cars and home theater. Well, I take that back. It's pretty much anything with a motor or a processor.
Right.
I like all that stuff, all those gadgets. And so I was looking for opportunities and looking for just to get to know, immerse myself in the industry, and
Yeah.
through that and through these friendships and conversations, this kind of emerged, and I'm happy to be doing something I love, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, one of the things that was pretty cool is that I remember doing, I don't know if you guys remember seeing it, but on my channel, I filmed Matt's home theater tour, 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I remember
And
that.
it wasn't long after that, and I don't remember if it was at his home or if it was through like Messenger and texting, but he would keep, kind of periodically we'd check in with each other, see how we're doing. And I just remember him saying like 3 years ago, one day I want to do something together. Got an idea. But he didn't tell me anything about it. I'm like, okay, cool. And I didn't think anything about it. Went about my business, growing my channel. He reaches out again. He's like, hey, I haven't forgot about this idea, just not the right timing right now. I got to work on some other things. I'm like, again, didn't think anything of it. And then literally at CEDIA last year, yeah, so it would have been CEDIA 2023. I get a text from him, and Matt was like, hey, you at CEDIA? I'm like, yeah. He's like, me too. He said, are you, he said, where you at? I said, I'm at the Hisense booth with my videographer, Joe Marin. And I said, but we're just about to wrap up. I said, we're catching a little bit of B-roll, and then, I'm available. So he said, cool, I'll stop by the booth. And so he stops by the booth, and, we have a conversation, and we're just chit-chatting and stuff. And then he says, hey, you want to do something? How did he say it? Oh, he said, do you want to do something cool? So naturally, I'm thinking, oh, we're going to make a video here at CEDIA, right? And he said, you ever been to Roost Chris? I'm like, what's a Roost Chris, man? So don't crucify me. No idea.
I don't know what that is.
It's a bougie,
It's a steakhouse.
nice steakhouse restaurant.
Okay.
And so we go there. He's like, let's go to Roost Chris. I'm like, cool. Have a great dinner. And then after the dinner, then he begins to kind of share his vision of what he saw 3 years ago and what he sees in me as a content creator. And he just shared with me, he said, Michael, you're authentic. You have you're curious about products. You're curious about how do you do this? And you're not scared to learn. And you also don't pretend like you know it all, And he said, I've got an idea for a business. And he began to unpack that, and I began to see the vision. So that was last year that we began talking about this and kind of working towards it. So just super, super grateful for the relationships over the years. I mean, I'm looking at 8 dudes right here that I consider friends, and there's so many other content creators, and then there's brands that are in the chat that we've had an opportunity to, to get to know over the past 6 years that I've been doing YouTube. And so it's just really cool. To me, it's literally all about community. It's all about the relationships. But I'm so pumped about this next chapter in my life, man. I'm excited about it.
I can't wait to see what that's gonna be like, and I'm sure it's gonna be successful, and we're all gonna be here, supporting you guys, and
Appreciate
hopefully we can be a part of it, whether it's filming content somewhere or something. Like I'm excited for you guys. So
we've got some fun things that we've even been talking about with content creators, ways that literally, because you guys know my heart. I love pouring into y'all. I don't care if you got 200 subscribers, 1,000 subscribers. To me, it's not about clout. It's not about who can I connect with that'll build my audience. My heart is for you guys. That's why I've never been a gatekeeper. I've shared with you, I'm an open book. Don could call me tomorrow and go, hey, I got a question about AdSense. I got a question about brand deals. I got a question about what are camera settings, whatever. You, as a content creator, you can look at that and go, I'm keeping all my secrets. I got my secret sauce, whatever. I ain't got no secret sauce. But what I've learned over the years and the things that I've found that have helped my channel grow, I'm 1,000% open to share it with you guys. I'm not a gatekeeper. But we've already talked about some creative things that we could do to help support you as creators. And like Rusty said, we're going to have some fun doing it too. So I think it's going to be cool. Yeah. We're going to do some get-togethers. And I like I said, I'm just super pumped. Pimp my
I can definitely I can definitely attest to Michael, because I'll get on his Patreon channel. I mean, and he's so transparent. He'll pull up his stats from YouTube and talk about what what he's doing and how he's doing it. And so, I mean, just I have nothing but to say but thank you to you, to
Thanks.
Rusty, and to Ryan for putting on MWAVE. I mean, it's definitely something that I enjoy, going to every year. It's time away from my family, but I mean, it next year I was already told that they're coming. So,
oh, awesome! And we saw a lot of families this year, which was really cool.
Way more than last year. Saw a lot of couples. I think I saw some kids. I saw some strollers, and I was like, oh, okay,
I
cool.
saw one dude show up with his 2 children, like in strollers.
Yeah. I saw the strollers. I was like, are they?
Yeah, I took pictures of them because they were like, I think they were in the stereo integrity room right next to one of them subwoofers, and I'm like,
teach them while they're young. Well, guys, this has been awesome, man. This was fun. I was a little nervous when I saw the body count. I was like, man, 8 people. How long is this? But it was fun, man. I'm glad that we did it, and I'm glad that I got a chance to see everybody at MWAVE. Got to talk to everybody. I know even Rusty B, like, he wasn't sure that he was going to be there, and I came around the corner. I was like, hey, Rusty, what's going on, man? You made it.
I was like, I have to go.
Yeah, man. I appreciate Michael, you and Ryan putting all this stuff together, Rusty, like everybody, we all have the same passion, whether it's been, shooting a home theater tour. I met you guys, or I met some of you guys at MWAVE or at CEDIA. I think the first time I met Ike and Michael was at CEDIA. It was my first CEDIA. Yeah. So it's just been a fun ride, man. And I appreciate every single person's support that's been in the chats, that's commented on the videos, that's liked, like, we as content creators, we appreciate all that stuff, man. So, any closing comments we want to go through? Scott, go ahead.
Thank you, just to all of the hosts for the home theater room hosts before the event got started. Thank you to everyone. I made it to Ryan Kramer's and Sheldon's and Ryan Charpentier. So those 3 were amazing rooms, but thank you for doing that. I wish I could have made it to all the rooms, but that takes it out of your day. Some of them did 3 sessions. That's all day. And like Ryan Kramer, I mean, his room was done hours before the first person showed up.
Yeah, last minute. Yeah, and even Ryan Charpentier.
I was
he's calibrating the day. People are coming over, and he's still going, all right, I ain't done yet.
That's where I met the guy from Saudi Arabia. He was there that night when he showed up. I was wiping Ryan's floor to get it clean for him, which he said, you don't have to do that. I'm like, no, it's okay, because he was busy calibrating right then. So I mean, some of them it was just down to the wire. But I appreciate everyone that hosted, because that can take it out of you.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. And we wanted to, last year we didn't. We kind of gave them just a kind of a thank you gift, but this year Ryan and I thought, and Rusty, we're like, you know what, we need to make sure, like, I mean, we're charging for this. They're taking time out. They're opening their homes to some strangers, and time away from their families. So we literally split the revenue with them and gave them each, some money towards the food and snacks and drinks, so that they wouldn't have to pull that out of pocket as well. And it was just a way for us to say physically, like, thank you for opening up your home to a bunch of crazy home theater nuts, that want to celebrate this hobby together. So we're super grateful for them, for sure.
Yeah, super grateful to everybody that was involved, no matter how big or how small. Scott, you got any closing comments before we sign off?
Yeah, I'm dancing down at the Starlight tonight. That's how I pay for my home theater hobby. So anybody wants to
TMI.
Oh, sorry. No, you know what's funny is when we're all out and about, everybody's super professional and super courteous and nice. But when we were in the content creator room or whatever, and we're all just back there busting each other's chops. Me and Ike were giving each other credit. I mean, we're all just it's a lot of fun what goes on behind closed doors, and to a lot of the people, a lot of us are up late nights. Like me, Don, and Ike were hanging out at like 1 a.m. in the morning on Friday night over at Ryan's house. And then, a bunch of us got back to the hotel. Then we went down to the bar and closed the bar down.
Yep.
I took a shower and lay down at like 3:30, and then I met all the JTR guys back at like 7. So these, there's just you don't want to sleep because there's just always something going on. So it's a lot of good time. I appreciate all your guys' friendships. A lot of us chat outside of the YouTube space.
Yeah,
a lot of people, for the people that think, oh, you guys are just worried about your content and your viewer numbers and all that. I hang out with these guys. I have lunch with these guys. I text these guys, ask about their wives, their kids. Me and Michael. When Michael came to my house, 4 a.m., we're sitting in the theater. None of the equipment was even on.
Right.
He's talking about his daughters. I'm talking about my daughters. We're talking about our wives and
talking about my princess room you set me up in, man. That was awesome.
Well, VIP. I mean, you did win Janitor of the Year 3 years in a row. I had to hook you up.
You slept in a Minnie Mouse bed.
It's a princess room, man. It's awesome. But honestly, it's super comfy.
His head was hanging off one end, his feet off the other.
That's right.
So, no, I appreciate all you guys. And obviously, all the community, the subscribers, all of us. I'm here to just have a good time. That's why I invite people to my home. That's why I go to other people's homes. That's why I go to trade shows.
Yeah.
I just like hanging out.
Rusty B, closing comments.
So this is my first time this year going to MWAVE, and I wasn't sure I was going to make it. I just started a new job, so didn't really have PTO to be taken. But I was like, man, I've got to make it. So it was kind of a last minute and flew out there. Woke up at like 5 a.m. Saturday morning.
Are you looking for a new job now?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You can start volunteer at MWAVE.
We're starting a GoFundMe for Rusty B.
I got into explosive shaped charges, and I found that boring compared to home theater. But I'll definitely be back next year. And next year I'm going to be there the whole time from Friday. I'll actually be a VIP and see some of the rooms.
Nice.
I think that there's a few people here that I twisted their arm and told them, like, you need to be here. Like, you got to come. You won't regret it. And the best compliment, I heard this from dozens of people. They would come up and say, I thought this little event, there's like 15 rooms. I thought it'd be done in about 2 hours and be bored. Yep. And then the opposite happened. It's Sunday at noon, and I'm out of time. I haven't seen all the rooms. I've been talking so much, and I had so many people come up and just talk. It was just nice to just get to know people.
Sure.
And then the show ends at 4. We have, and I gotta say again to the volunteers, and I know this sounds like one of these like cliche thanks to the volunteer things.
They're the heroes.
Seriously. There were people, especially on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday morning. Yeah. We were busting. I mean, it was a lot of work. So there's some people I feel like I should honor above others, but I also hate to leave anybody out. So I don't know what the right thing to do.
I just know I mentioned Lou because this dude's older than most of us, but yet he's working harder than all of us.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Lou was there. Yeah. He was there all 3 days doing the setup all day
doing
long.
Trusses. I'm like,
he's doing the tear down. Scott, Chris, Drew, had so many people, so many wives got donated to the registration desk. Volunteered. Here you go.
They even volunteered, a lot of them. They're like, hey, how can I help? I'm here.
Oh, yeah. But they were phenomenal. They did a fantastic job. And then the breakdown. Man, breakdown's always a thing. Yep. And 4 o'clock, all hands on deck. Yep. We were all but two rooms. All but two rooms were
2 hours?
Pretty much done by 6:30.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Because we had like 100 volunteers and 60 exhibitors helping. It was amazing. And you don't get that. You go to Cedia, they kick you out.
That is
5 minutes before they turn the lights out.
Yeah.
Well, they get security after you at Cedia. I was trying to film.
That happened to us last year, Michael.
You got to go. Like,
it's just,
like, really?
It's a totally different vibe. Sure. MWAVE has kind of grown beyond just Michael and Ryan. It's now like a community. It's a family, right? And I think that's really cool. But even after me and Michael finally, it's like 8 o'clock. We're like, all right, we need to eat. We're going to take a break for dinner. we go to the yard house, somehow run into 12 of our best friends, got to hang out. We spent another couple of hours. And we went back to the event center and did another couple of hours. But nobody wanted to go home. And I just think that's cool.
Well, even on day one, that was kind of interesting. So I'm giving like I'll be honest, man, it brought me back to my preaching days. Not that I was preaching, but I was so pumped up and I was so excited about what I had to share. And it was what I was most passionate about. And so I'm giving my little spiel of what MWAVE is about and the culture that we're creating and how much we're focused on relationships. And we did this little activity so everybody could get into groups of where they were from so that they could find out, man, there's 10 other people here from Texas. There's 20 other people from this state. And there's 2 guys here from my state or whatever. But after that, I dismiss everybody. Go have a great show. We've got, only a couple hours tonight, like 3 hours on Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? There's like 30 people just chilling out in the room. Like, that was weird to me. I mean, that's what I wanted them to do, but I didn't know they would do it, And so here you have these beautiful, incredible home theater experiences outside the room, but you got people just hanging out and building friendships and building relationships and exchanging numbers and having bromances and all that fun stuff, But that's the essence of what MWAVE is really about. And so if you didn't come this year, you got to come next year. Go ahead and save up. It's expensive, man. We know that. We know that it's expensive for you to take PTO, to save up for the expensive hotel downtown, your Ubers and car rentals and all that. But I promise you, it's worth it. It's a great event.
Definitely worth it. And if
I imagine, Michael, and I know you guys are trying to close this down, but I mean, the process of all that's going to be starting up here probably in the next month or 2 for you, right? To get these guys, because a lot of these companies, especially if they're coming overseas, I mean, that's a big ordeal for them.
Yeah. They've got to put it on their calendar. They got to put it in their budget.
Yeah.
So probably the next step, Ryan will figure out like what dates and then convey that to the vendors. And then the process.
Speaking of dates, it was really funny that
literally starts.
Last year you had the the show in July, and then the Comic-Con was the same week, and then you moved it a week up.
I know, that was hilarious.
And it was still the same week.
Oh, we moved it a month up.
I know, a whole month. That was hilarious.
Yeah, we went from July to June, and the Collecticon did the same thing. I'm like, what is the likelihood of that? Man, they're copying us, man. They were wanting to be us.
Yeah,
that was pretty funny.
All right, Ike, should close this out with some closing comments.
MWAVE was great. I am ready for it next year and looking forward to it. I think outside of the gear, the relationships are the really important part of it, right? It's like when you show up there, you don't even know who has 1 million subscribers or who has 10,000 subscribers or whatever. Everyone is just having fun.
Yeah.
It's a great time. You get to see, some of us may never get to experience JTRs or stereo integrities or things like that, or own a 380 or, Christie. So it gives you an opportunity. So if you can make it, start planning, and God willing, we'll be there again next year. And, thank you, Jordan, for putting this together. It was great.
And no problem, man. I appreciate everybody coming on. I appreciate everybody's, friendship and everybody's knowledge and enthusiasm for the hobby. And I'm sure everybody, watching feels the same way. So, hey guys, thank you guys for tuning in with us for the last 2.5 hours. Make sure you subscribe to all the content creators here. Show a big thanks, hit the like button, all the YouTube stuff. It's been fun, and I can't wait to see what happens, in the future with MWAVE 2025 and just, whatever else content that comes up, shows and stuff. And I'm sure I'll see everybody soon again. Look for some more content. I know I have my last vlog day to post at sometime this week. I don't know when, but it'll probably be before Friday. So I'll have that, and you'll probably be seeing some more content coming from the other content creators. So
and for those of you on here, and maybe even the other content creators, if you watch this later, I haven't had a chance to convey this yet, but I've been adding everything to the MWAVE website. So if you guys go over to MidwestAVExperience.com, up here at the top where it says videos, we've got videos from 2022, 2023. When you go to the 2024 You can see I'll put up here at the top, I updated it today. And so I've got my one video. Actually, I got to add my second video. Jonathan has a blog that he did a live stream. FOMO, I just posted that one today. That's on the TV comparison. I didn't really add the shorts this year. That just ends up being a lot.
Yeah.
Hatoraid Cowboy, of course, Jordan's killing it. Look at there, 4 stinking videos. Horizon Home Theater, he's cranked out 2. They had a podcast the other day. Theater at Home is a new content creator. George had a chance to meet him. Super nice guy, man.
Super nice.
Go show him some love on his channel. Obsessed Garage. Matt made a vlog on his, and this was his first time coming. Ike, of course, he had a conversation with Row One. Stereo Integrity with Nick. K-Pace guy was there. That was cool meeting Kyle.
Got to meet him, yeah.
Really nice guy. Let's see who else. Daily Hi-Fi even had a I guess that was on their podcast, and so Paul shared his experience. And again, another content creator here, Spencer's Stuff. Spencer's doing some great content over on his channel. So he did a video talking about the TVs, the Sony Bravia 9 review. So what I'm saying is go check those videos out, support these content creators. They definitely would love your support. But then as you guys make more content, all you got to do is shoot me a text, shoot me a note. Hey, Michael, just dropped another video. I'll do my best to promote it on my social platform to share it with my audience, and then we'll get it added to the website as well. So I appreciate you guys making content.
Appreciate you, man. And I know Ryan's not here. I don't know if he's watching. If he's watching this later, thank you too, man, because I know that guy works hard behind the scenes, and I see him running around, and I saw him sitting in the VIP room, and I was like, I know he's tired, but he's having fun. So
we're all exhausted. Yep.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you again for tuning in. Like we said, make sure you subscribe to everybody's channel and leave your comments. If you want to, say something else after the fact, we'll be in the chat. And thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time on one of our channels.
Have a great week, guys.
See you guys.
Happy July 4th.
Oh, yeah.
And be safe out there.
Blow
right,
something
guys.
up.
Thanks for
Something.